I can't stop yawning. That's not a good sign for the start of a show.
It happens.
I was debating with myself after the game stream last night. Like I should do a show or I should get some sleep because my father-in-law's coming today, and I got to be up and presentable and stuff. I'm like, you know what? I'll just go ahead and I'll do a show when I wake up. And then I slept like hell and only slept about 3 hours, so I'm still tired as shit. Basically, all I did was waste 3 hours of my life. And with that, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Monkey in the Morning. I'm your host, Monkey. He's Jack. Say hi, Jack.
Hi, everybody.
Monk is never late. He's tardy. Monk is never late or tardy. You're thinking of Biden. He's very tardy.
Yeah, he's retardy.
Jack, how you doing, my friend?
Oh, I'm all right. How are you?
I am in shock that they keep putting this man in public.
Oh, dear God, that Snuffleupagus interview was just such a shit show. Are we going to watch the whole thing?
Don't worry, we're going to watch it.
Oh, good, because, oh, my God, so many thoughts. I'm like, why are you doing this?
Not only are we going to watch it, we are going to watch the follow-up where the ABC anchors talk about it, which is probably my favorite thing.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Oh, my God, they look so sad, dude. They look just defeated. Just defeated.
I get it. I mean, I'd feel that way, too, if this was the candidate I'm supposed to be backing. If this was my horse in the race, my pony, I would want to change my bet.
Guys, don't forget, share this with your friends, your family that bitch you hate, because our last one, Jack, believe it or not, when we made fun of Biden for 2.5, 3 hours, whatever it was, it did not get the monetized. I was like, man.
I'm so shocked that Google, the right-wing consortium that it is, didn't bother.
Before we get to that, I do want to just touch on one thing because I saw this right before we went live. The job numbers came out yesterday for June, and they were, as this says, a healthy 206,000 jobs added, which is, that's great, right? The economy is firing along. But if you read the paragraph right above it, it says jobs added to the economy in May were revised down to 218,000 from 272,000, and in April to 108 from 165,000.
That's a hell of a drop.
Yeah, if you do the math, it comes out to 437,000 jobs was the original claim, and it's 326,000 if you do the subtractions. More than a quarter of the number of jobs claimed for May and April just disappeared. Wow. A quarter of them, 25% just gone.
How many of the remaining ones are actually like illegal alien jobs?
It's a good question. It's a very good question. How many of them are just regular government jobs? Because they've been really padding their numbers with that shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, if you're saying, well, this guy went into the roofing business and he created 5 jobs, 4 of those jobs probably went to guys hanging out at Home Depot.
Yeah.
So, and then government's jobs.
We rarely get it laid out this starkly for us. I tell you guys, every fucking time that they give us the job numbers, they're revised down. I don't know if Biden has had one that wasn't. And it's really pathetic when the press is lying to you. The BLS is lying to you, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, to the point where literally they're making up a full quarter of it. 111,000 jobs just didn't actually exist.
Yeah. I view them a lot like I view unions. They say a lot of stuff and then they got to correct it later.
Yeah. If we're looking at this in terms of how many jobs they had to revise down and then look at this 206,000 number, if you subtract that 111,000 from the 206 here, it's less than 100,000 jobs.
Yeah.
And we need about 150,000 added each time for the economy to keep rolling along.
Yeah, well, they're going to fudge the numbers no matter what, obviously.
Yeah.
Revising it down later, I imagine they're really lowballing their revisions too.
I guarantee you none of the headlines are massive reductions in April and May job predictions.
No, they
It's
just
all,
report the high number, move
yeah.
along.
All of the headlines today were the jobs numbers came in strong. You know, as long as you don't pay attention to what we told you the last time they came in strong. Like, Jesus, man. I don't know how you're an economics reporter these days and having to go out there and every month know that you're just lying to people. Every article I wrote would start out with, what I'm about to say to you is probably bullshit, but it is what the administration said.
Yeah. I wouldn't trust anything these clowns say these days.
Oh, God, no. God, no. Speaking of clowns, the clown in chief was on George Stephanopoulos' show. Son of a bitch.
Oh, Snuffleupagus, how we all hate your round head.
When I saw this, I almost went live then. The first time I watched this, probably 9 o'clock ish. We're watching it on the ABC feed from some place, ABC 5, wherever that was at. Because I figured, George did the hard work here. We might as well give them the credit for this. That's fucked up. Because there's no hard work here. Even his questions were softball as he was trying to pretend he's being, really grilling the president. We'll get to that because there's one thing he says in here that just made my fucking brain explode. It actually made me go do research, and I was not happy about that.
Oh, I imagine. What got me was he was throwing softballs and Biden's whiffing.
Oh God, yeah.
It's like watching a retarded kid try and play t-ball.
Yes. Oh, it's okay. He tried hard.
Yay, Billy! A for effort. Thank you, Mom.
Yeah. So here we go. Let's dive in. Oh, it is playing. Okay. It just takes a second. I don't know why.
Jeopardy Masters will be seen after this from ABC News.
They preempted Jeopardy for this?
Jeopardy Masters.
Still.
It's not regular Jeopardy. It's like Jeopardy at night.
But I'm fairly certain you'd learn a lot more from watching Jeopardy than watching Biden.
Oh yeah, hands down. That's not even a bold statement to make, man. I'm sorry, it's just like saying like water's wet.
I guess you're right. You're right.
Libraries have books.
The first time I watched this, I jumped to where I was already right there. I passed everything up. So I didn't even see that they preempted Jeopardy for this. That's kind of fucked up, man.
Yeah, it is.
Anyway.
Sad. At least it didn't go for the prices right at night because that's way better.
Even if I do think without Alex Trebek, Jeopardy's just fallen to shit.
Oh, yeah, it's gotten kind of woke too.
Alex had a way of being above everybody without seeming obnoxious about it.
Yeah, that's why it was so funny watching those SNL sketches with Will Ferrell and the guy that did Sean Connery.
Yeah, I'd like swords. That's S words.
Saber! That's an S word. Man, those sketches were funny as shit.
That might have been the last time SNL was funny. Anyway, here we go.
From ABC News, a special edition.
Really loud?
It's a little loud, but it's not that bad.
Okay, I just had my volume up a little too high there.
Of this week, President Joe Biden, his first television interview since the debate, the news-making exclusive, now reporting from Madison, Wisconsin.
Can we just pause for a second here and talk about the fact the reason that this is such a news-making event is because Biden looked mentally retarded during the debate? This is a first. This is a first where we have a massive major story. Look, he's not actually drooling on himself tonight. I mean, that's where we are.
How have we not been invaded this week? Seriously.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
George Stephanopoulos.
Good evening from Madison, Wisconsin for a special edition of This Week.
Can I just say, George he looks better than most of the leftovers from the Clinton era. He looks a little skinny here, but otherwise he looks healthy, which most of them have either, killed themselves by shooting themselves in the back 6 or 7 times or hit a mountain or gotten really fat. So, George, whatever you're doing, you keep it up. Keep it up.
No, he's from the same tribe as Fauci. Look at him.
Ah,
He could be wearing a mask right now. That might be Fauci in a suit.
he does have a large head, and for me to be able to say that about somebody.
He's got a large head and a weird nose.
Hi, Nets. How you doing, sweetie?
Hi,
Okay.
Stargazer.
Let's let George talk. I was just shocked because when I haven't seen George Stephanopoulos in a long time, and I saw him like, hey, he still looks like George Stephanopoulos.
Yeah.
The first broadcast interview with President Biden since last week's debate.
And look at the news
Earlier
hair.
this afternoon, we taped the 22-minute interview. There are no cuts, no edits. We have not touched it.
I don't believe them on this point.
I don't either. There's a couple of times where I'm thinking they cut something out.
Yeah. I can't prove it in any way, but I honest to God do not believe that this was completely uncut.
No, especially because there's multiple camera angles, which would make
Yep.
it really easy to splice out a few things. Also, on a totally unrelated note, how long do you think it takes this dude to trim his nose hair?
Oh, probably days, man.
Ugh. It's like a
But
forest
I'm
in there.
49 years old and I have to do that too.
Yeah, well, trimming your nose hair is one thing, but that dude looks like he has like the Amazon jungle of nose hair in there. Look at the size of his nostrils.
Gentlemen, you will eventually have to trim your nose and ear hair. It's just what we have to do.
Yeah, nose, ear, and probably your eyebrows too.
Oh, yeah. I got to trim my eyebrows from time to time because every so often I'll be like, where's that hair coming from? Oh, it's one of
Yeah.
my eyebrows pointing
But-
down.
I'm a wizard.
Yeah.
At this pivotal moment in the presidential campaign, here it is. Mr. President, thank you for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start with the debate. You and your team have said you had a bad night, but you're
Did.
This is what I'm talking about, Jack. We're having this discussion, and look how soft that was. Yeah, it's been described as a bad night. You basically were drooling, and
yeah.
you look lost the whole time.
You look
Now-
confused, sir. And this image right here, he looks like he's unwell in that still.
This is the best version of Biden. Keep that in mind as we listen to this, guys.
yeah.
They've-
Notice his skin looks strangely orangish.
Oh yeah, they've been oranging him up since the debate.
Yeah, they're
every-
trying
every
to trick
time-
people.
He's starting to look like Ross in that one episode of Friends.
I do not understand that.
I know you don't. Friends watchers will get it.
Ah.
But he doesn't look good. Also, I really would have liked for them to tell us what time of day this was done.
Oh, I bet this was like 9 a.m. Even then, he
because-
still looks like he's hopped up on something.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's clearly high here.
Yeah.
Just look at his little smile here.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
that's-
bad one.
That's a normal smile. That's a just. There's so much wrong with this man. It's sad.
All right, so your guys have described it as a bad night.
But your friend Nancy Pelosi actually framed the question that I think is on the minds of millions of Americans. Was this a bad episode or the sign of a more serious condition?
All right, before we let Biden lie on this, those are not mutually exclusive. People with Alzheimer's, especially as it's coming on, or even just regular dementia for other reasons, they're not like that constantly. We say episodes for that.
Yeah, Mama has good days and bad days. I mean, some days she's more articulate, like her old self. Other days, it's about 3 words you'll understand in context.
The question
day.
isn't, the question isn't, was this an episode or a more serious problem? It's how serious is this problem?
Yeah, but they're never going to frame it that way.
No,
until
because
it's guaranteed they're getting rid of him.
there's nothing wrong. Well, apparently you see Senator Warner out there.
Yeah,
He's putting together a coalition of other senators to beg this motherfucker to leave.
Yeah, I think there are some
Whoops.
Democrats that are moving closer and closer to 25th and him.
Don't worry. He does address that later. Anyway,
Yeah, I'm wondering how this interview is going to affect that tomorrow or Monday, I should say.
I haven't seen anybody say anything positive about this.
I haven't either.
Even the Democratic side, they do what Biden does here, but Trump's a liar. We'll get to that in a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, okay. Oh, and welcome back to the folks over on Rumble. Sorry we didn't do last show on there. It wasn't our fault. Rumble just wasn't working. But luckily it's working tonight, Jack.
Good.
So remember, you can watch on Rumble. You can watch on YouTube. You can get your friends here, have a watch party. Just don't give them a time because who knows when we'll actually start.
Did you know you can pin stuff in the chat on Rumble now?
I did not.
Yeah.
It's a bad episode. No indication of any serious condition. I was exhausted.
Okay. We're going to have to go back and listen to that again. FYI, Bob, thank you. You guys have to understand Biden is still conscious, regardless of how the left and right mock him. He will refuse to resign. I have been saying since the beginning, especially because of the debate, he won't step down.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think they're going to have to force him out.
They're going to have to, yeah. Because he's too egotistical, and his wife will never allow that to be his legacy.
No, she wants power like crazy.
Yep. But anyway, just listen to him say this.
It's a bad episode. No indication of any serious condition. I was exhausted.
I know. I was exhausted. He mumbles through it. It's the first goddamn question. This is our president, y'all. This is the man with the nuclear codes.
Uh-huh. Well, hypothetically.
Hypothetically.
There's probably a chief of staff that has them.
Episode, he admitted it. Well, it's just in that instance, he's just repeating the wording that Stephanopoulos used.
Yeah, he's saying in that one instance. They keep saying episode when they mean instance.
Well, they mean episode, but they're trying to dress it up as instance.
Yeah.
They're lying when they use it that way. Anyway, back to Slurry Joe here.
I didn't listen to my instincts in terms of preparing, and I had a bad night.
What were your instincts? I didn't listen to my instincts when I prepared.
Well, as instincts were to not do the debate.
I still can't believe they let him do the debate, and I still can't believe that they're trying to push the notion that Trump wouldn't want a second one. Trump is chomping at the bit for a second one.
Oh, after that performance, yeah, he's got no reason not to go ahead.
And if I were him, I'd be pushing for a later start time.
Yeah.
I'd be like, we're going to do the next one at 11.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 10 or 11 would be perfect.
Russell, thank you so much for becoming a member. Appreciate it, my friend.
Woo.
All right, here we go.
You know, you say you were exhausted, and I know you've said that before as well, but you came, and you did have a tough month, but you came home from Europe about 11 or 12 days before the debate, spent 6 days in Camp David. Why wasn't that enough rest time, enough recovery time?
Yeah, we haven't talked about this. When we were going over Corinne Jean-Pierre, we missed where she claimed that part of the problem was jet lag.
Yeah, for like 6 days.
No. 12 days.
12 days, yeah.
12 days.
This was probably the most honest thing that Stephanopoulos does here is actually ask this question.
Yeah.
Because he does point out that he had at least a week at Camp David where he had nothing going on except debate prep.
Yep.
Because I was sick. I was feeling terrible. Matter of fact, the doctor.
Why is it nobody mentioned him being sick before the debate? Even boxers, if they get a little bit of a sniffle before a fight, they go, hey, guys, I'm sick. I'm still going to do this, but if I lose, that's going to be why. You know what I mean?
Because the sickness in this case is dementia.
Thank you, FYI, Bob. Okay, guys, here when it's over, George asked him a question. hang on, that scrolled up. Biden gives him a blank stare and responds, "What? Who are you?" Again, Biden is still conscious. Yeah, I mean, there is actually several instances where he literally just kind of freezes.
Yeah, which is normal with dementia.
Mm-hmm.
Talks with me. I asked if they did a COVID test because they're trying to figure out what's wrong. They did a test to see whether or not I had some infection, a virus. I didn't. They just had a really bad cold.
Which is weird because Corinne Jean-Pierre said you didn't see a doctor before the debate. This is a thing that's come out. It's another part we didn't talk about with all of that is the White House has said both that he did see a doctor for his cold and that he didn't. Nobody knows the real truth here.
Well, if he had a cold, he had zero symptoms of one that night. He wasn't wiping his nose. He wasn't coughing or sneezing.
But his voice was raspy. His voice was raspy, like it gets when you're really tired.
Yeah, it's stupid old.
Oh.
And did you ever watch the debate afterwards?
I don't think I did, no.
I don't remember.
It was a week ago, and I don't think I did. What? That's our president. It's been, what, a week now? The debate was, what, last Thursday? So 9 days. I don't think I did. Is that alarming to anyone else?
Well, what I want to get at is what were you experiencing as you were going through the debate? Did you know how badly it was going?
Yeah, look.
That was not monkey pausing. That was him actually thinking that entire time.
Jesus.
It's going.
Yeah, look. The whole way I prepared, nobody's fault, mine. Nobody's fault but mine.
He's saying that because there have been so many of us who've rightfully pointed out that whoever was responsible for this debate needs to be fired.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Just from a political point of view, whoever's idea this was, they should have been gone. Dangerous, thank you. 1, Joe Biden put the special in special edition. 2, they said they recorded it earlier in the afternoon. So how dark do you want it to be? I like how you look. What are you, Puerto Rican? Wow.
You look very exotic. Was your dad a sailor?
That's from the Friends episode. Oh.
I prepared what I usually would do, sitting down, as I did come back with foreign leaders or the National Security Council, for explicit detail.
Okay, a minute ago he told us he didn't listen to his instinct. Now he's telling us he did it the same way he always does it. Okay, when he comes back from foreign leaders or National Security Council, this motherfucker slurs like a drunk. He really does. This is not just an age thing. Trump doesn't slur like this.
No, my dad doesn't slur like this either. He's pretty fucking old. My dad's older than both these guys.
And I realized about partway through that, I get quoted, the New York Times had me down at 10 points before the debate, 9 now, or whatever the hell it is. The fact of the matter is that what I looked at is that he also lied 28 times. The way the debate ran, not my fault, nobody else's fault. No one.
This answer is so hard to follow.
Just like the debate.
The question was, did you realize that it was going badly? And he came, I've prepared National Security Council, then realized Trump lied 28 times.
Well, Joe would know a lie when he hears one, since he's made a career out of them.
Here, Let me give you a liberal perspective on lying during the debate. Jimmy Dore, not right wing at all. We can agree on that, right?
Yeah.
Jimmy Dore was on with Joe Rogan the other day, and he pointed this out. We didn't even catch it. We mentioned them at the time, but in Joe's opening remark at the debate, he lied 3 fucking times. 3. But hey, Donald Trump lied 28 total. And remember, notice when they talk about Trump's lies from this, they never actually specify what they were. It's all his exaggerations, which we pointed out as we watched. But he flat out lied. And he's going to do it here too. He's going to repeat one of the lies that he told in that opening statement in a little while.
Oh, he's going to repeat several lies.
Yeah.
He's good at it.
What else?
But it seemed like you were having trouble from the first question in. Even
That's true. I stopped it in the first question. Jesus Christ, this is only the first question.
Yes.
He was slurring already. But
Yeah.
no, it's those 28 lies Trump told.
Yeah, Faithless said 28 hyperboles. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
He's a known exaggerator, like a carnival barker,
Yeah.
or somebody selling you something. They want to puff it up. And Trump's notorious for that. But that's a lie. They're obsessed with that.
It is a lie for Trump to say everybody wanted Roe v. Wade returned to the states, because not everybody did, because they knew how it would go.
Yeah, but that's more of that bloviating puffing that people do. It's not true, but I wouldn't call that a lie. I'd call it a massive exaggeration.
It wasn't saying, hey, no American troops have died overseas under my command.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he didn't look at his watch enough.
True.
Maybe he didn't look up from it. So
before
I don't
he
look
spoke.
at my coffin, they're not there.
Well, I just had a bad night. You bet.
What happened there? And I'm sorry, I stepped on you with it. Stephanopoulos pointed out before Trump ever spoke, you were already fucking up. And he had a bad night. Yeah, but your bad night, you were just explaining away because it was, while totally your fault, you keep saying that, it was everybody else's fault. It was Trump for lying. He hadn't even said a fucking word yet. That's not true. He did wave and say hi, I think, to the moderators when he first walks in, but he hadn't made an official statement yet. And so we're just back to bad night. Bad night is one of the biggest lies being told here. He didn't have a bad night. He had a Biden night. It's just who he is. This wasn't a one-off. The man got lost in his own garden. I saw some chick on Twitter tonight, Jack. She's like, what we really need to determine is whether what we saw at the debate was an ongoing problem or if it was just a one-off. A week before the debate, they were explaining away all the other one-offs. How many one-offs do you need?
They're all one-offs.
Morning, baby. Oh, God. Explain how Democrats are going to force him out and Biden will tell them over my dead body. Plus, the guy wanted to be president since 88. He's wanted to be president longer than since 88, but it's called the 25th Amendment. The 25th Amendment, they can kick him out. Yeah.
Yeah. No, every time you say you got lost in the garden, I keep thinking of that scene in Last Crusade where Indy's like, he can speak 7 languages. He's probably in another country by now.
Oh,
and then he has to look at his dad later and be like, no, he gets lost in his own museum.
yes.
That's what I keep thinking of, that because that's how the Democrats sound. They're like puffing him up to be this big badass Dark Brandon. But then behind the scenes, they're like, he's crazy. He gets lost in his own home.
It's, to me, that one is just so stark because if you watch the full video of him getting lost in the garden, you very much see the same thing we saw with Jill leading him off the stage the other night. She has to go collect him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And as the camera, so he's in frame and you see the garden behind him and she comes over and collects him. And then they start walking stage left. They're headed to the left side of your screen and the camera pans. And the White House is right fucking there. It's not even like there was a hedge in his way. All he had to do was pay attention to the giant white mansion.
What?
And he couldn't do that.
He just thought Robert Byrd got really big.
Fuck. But no, it's just a bad night. Anyway.
That's some bad interviews once in a while. I can't remember any, but I'm sure you did.
I've had plenty.
George, if you've had nights like that, you need to see a neurologist. Jack, I had memory problems with medicines I was taking and never had a night like that. I haven't had a night like that drunk. And I've gotten fucking wasted.
Yeah, I'd be hard pressed to remember a time I was that fucked up.
Yeah.
Maybe I had a corneal erosion one time and they gave me really, really powerful Vicodin, like absurd level of Vicodin. And I was a serial killer that night, I think. Like I didn't see people as real people. And I don't think my night was that bad.
This is just more of the lie, though, right? Oh, yeah, of course, we've all had bad nights. Nobody has bad nights like that without a severe neurological issue. Anyway, all right.
I guess the question, the problem is here for a lot of Americans watching is you've said, going back to 2020, watch me, to people who are concerned about your age. And, 50 million Americans.
Yeah, see, if they wanted to prove to me that this was uncut, it would have all been from that angle that we just saw. Behind Stephanopoulos, where we can see his mouth so we can, match it up and see Biden. But it's amazing how many jump cuts there are in here. I do not believe them that this is uncut.
No, those jump cuts are cutting out a lot of him thinking.
Yeah,
there's responding, I think.
That I cut off the question there, so I will take it back. But if I'm doing this, because remember, originally it was supposed to be one of their normal produced things, and then because of the debate, they were like, okay, well, we'll show the whole thing just to prove that it was just a one-off, which is fine, except you're not proving it to me. Give me just the one angle. I dare you.
Is here for a lot of Americans watching. As you've said, going back to 2020, watch me. To people who are concerned about your age. And, 50 million Americans watched that debate. It seemed to confirm fears they already had.
Which the press lied about repeatedly.
Oh, Monkey, the press doesn't lie. How can you say such things?
And see, again, he's softballing this. It seems to confirm their worries. How about your White House was telling us it was all cheap fakes, and then we get 90 minutes of a cheap fake? Is that what you're going with?
Yes, it was one giant conspiracy by that right-wing CNN outlet.
I wonder how long the video would be if you just played video of Biden looking confused that night.
Oh, probably 45, 50 minutes easily.
And half the time he was speaking.
Yeah. Speaking, not speaking, what matter? He looked confused through the majority of his screen time.
They just can't stop gaslighting. No, it's your lying eyes.
Yeah, it's not gaslighting. You're just crazy.
We all know that eyewitness testimony is not reliable.
Well, look, after that debate, I did 10 major events in a row, including till 2 o'clock in the morning after that debate.
All right, let's stop there for a second. We need to address this. He was sick, Jack. He was so sick that many of us watched that and went, fuck, his dementia's worse than we thought. So his loving wife, what does she do? Does she take him home to bed where this sick man needs to go rest?
No.
They took him out to a campaign event.
Where he looked lost and confused, and she talked to him like he's 5.
Remember, though, there were a lot of people who were like, where was this Joe during the debate? Like, it's the same dude, man.
Yeah, he actually looked pretty bad there, too. I don't know what they're talking about.
They just added the laugh track. That's all.
Yeah. What the audience, it does change the perception.
It does.
Because you could distract from a lot of what is going on with him because you're listening to the other people talking and cheering and stuff like that, and he has time to recover and think. And then Jill, like, you answered all their questions like a big boy. Yay.
You did so good. Look at his pupils, completely dilated. Yeah, they are. It might be hard to see watching this on the stream, but you can get a close up of it. He has no iris here.
Yeah, does he even blink through this thing? Because like that one video they released of him where he didn't blink for like 2 straight minutes, and everybody's like, "This is a deep fake."
The thing with him not blinking, because I've seen that a lot. If you go back, you'll also see me point this out. How many times he was blinking? So he goes from blinking like he's trying to send a distress signal to not blinking for several minutes at a time.
Yeah, that says
Both-
medication to me.
Both of those are signs of neurological issues.
Yeah,
And
but
he's given both of them.
He's on so much meds; it's bouncing back and forth between them. There's something really wrong with this man.
Yes,
and
yes.
his wife is a despicable monster for keeping him back in this race.
I did events in North Carolina. I did events in Georgia. Did events like this today. Large crowds.
We'll get to the crowds. Dangerous, thank you. I'm sure I've had nights like that, but I don't remember. Fucking hell, Joe, just stop talking. Also, Joe had to be directed by the Easter Bunny. I bet this twice, my friend. I bet this interview has more cuts than an emo fan, right? But yeah, twice by the Easter Bunny. It's been 2 out of his 3 years in office that's happened, or 4 years in office. How many? It's 4, right?
Yeah.
God, it's 2024. I'm getting old, man.
In Georgia. Did events like this today. Large crowds, overwhelming response, no slipping.
This is where you guys should have cut to the videotape, because I do not believe there was no slipping from Biden in anything he's done. You could tell me Biden said good morning and he didn't slur, and I would not believe you. I've seen too much of him.
Yeah.
Did you see his Independence Day remarks?
I don't think I saw the whole thing. I just saw the snippets.
He's just a sad old man.
And so I just had a bad night. I don't know why.
And
Because you're older than fuck and you have dementia. I don't know why.
Well, it's because he can't remember why. I mean, come on, man.
how quickly did it come to you
Yeah.
that you were having that bad night?
Well, it came to me as having a bad night when I realized that even when I was answering a question, when they turned his mic off, he was still shouting.
No, he wasn't. That did not happen.
That is a total fucking lie, because you would have been able to hear Trump shouting through Biden's microphone. They weren't that far apart.
And we know this. We can fact check this because you could hear Biden doing that to Trump.
Yeah. And they had them split screens, so you could see Trump, and he's just standing there with his mouth shut, making faces occasionally, but not saying anything. He occasionally did mutter something, but he never was shouting.
There was only one time, and it's late in the debate, where you can hear Trump through Joe's mic.
Yeah,
There's at
he's
least-
not shouting.
Yeah, there's at least 4 different times you can hear that the other way around.
Oh, yeah. Especially when he's calling him like a loser and a whiner.
Yeah. I realize this is my brain went, what? Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, I had the same reaction because that is
And-
just such a blatant lie.
Don't worry, guys. Stephanopoulos will call him out on it. No, don't fuck it with you.
No,
it's
you
not.
won't. Snuffleupagus is Big Bird's best friend.
And I let it distract me. I'm not blaming it on that.
Okay, remember, you got to speak first, and George has already pointed out that you had fucked up. But no, I let it distract me. That's when I realized it was bad.
Yeah, when a fictional thing happened, that's when I realized it. What? What are you on about,
What?
old man? You psycho.
I'm saying the same thing I said about the debate. Whoever allowed this to happen needs to be fired. They shouldn't be working for a campaign. Not seriously.
I bet Stephanopoulos fires somebody over this.
But I realized that I just wasn't in control.
What part of the
You're not supposed to be in
Wait.
control. It's a debate.
Was he just accidentally the most honest he's ever been when I wasn't in control of my faculties?
either his faculties or the debate itself. Like, I couldn't control myself. I couldn't control the situation because the moderators weren't shutting Trump up like I demanded. I don't know exactly what he's saying here, but they could be read in a lot of ways, and none of them are good.
The entire setup for that debate was the Biden campaign's layout.
Oh yeah,
From
that
no
was all their idea.
audience. Yeah, no audience. The silencing of the microphones, where everybody was sitting. Biden got to pick which podium he stood at because there were people like, how they just had him at the bad podium. All of it was set up by him. The only thing he didn't have control over is that Trump won the coin toss to speak last. Oh, I didn't have control because I was hallucinating.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
By the way, hallucinating, that is a Satsu thing that I stole from him, and I want to give him credit. But seriously, Joe was apparently hallucinating during this thing.
Yeah, auditory hallucinations of Trump shouting at him. Yeah, that's not a good sign. That's that you might be having a stroke if you're hearing things like that. I'm just saying.
And this is where, look, George isn't a moderator here. He's a journalist. He should have been like, but Trump didn't say anything. What are you talking about, old man?
George is not a journalist.
Okay, he's supposed to be.
He's supposed to be.
He's a DNC plant that's been there for 30 years.
Yeah. Yeah, that's much more accurate.
All right.
The other concern is that this seems to fit into a pattern of decline that has been reported on recently. New York Times had a headline on July 2nd, Biden's lapses are said to be increasingly common and worrisome. Here's what they wrote. People who have spent time with President Biden over the last few months or so said the lapses appear to have grown more frequent, more pronounced, and after Thursday's debate, more worrisome. By many accounts, as evidenced by video footage, observation, and interviews, Mr. Biden is not the same today as he was even when he took office 3.5 years ago. Similar reporting in the Washington Post and the Wall Street.
Hang on. Watch Biden's face here.
His debate more worrisome.
See how his mouth opened that little bit?
Yeah.
Now, when they cut
By
away,
many accounts, as evidenced by video footage, observation, and interviews, Mr.
it is entirely possible he closed his mouth during the question.
Biden is not the same today as he was even when he took office 3.5.
His mouth opens the exact same way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's probably a recycled clip. How much you want to bet that he jumped up and pointed at Stephanopoulos and was like, "What do you know? Who told you?" That,
well, it's a
angry outburst.
It's amazing if you look at it because you can see he's getting angry, which Biden is known to do. And he's being told right now that the New York Times is saying this dude's out of his fucking gourd. And yet he remains calm and he just opens his mouth twice in the exact same manner during the question.
Yeah, Biden's notoriously had a bad temper for decades. And if the reports are to be believed of the leaks coming out of the White House, he's been screaming at interns and stuff like that because he gets confused during briefings.
Mm-hmm.
So it wouldn't surprise me if they cut out an episode here where he like flipped out on Stephanopoulos for a minute.
This is why I want the cut from just over George's shoulder. Let us see the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's entirely possible that he did close his mouth and that's just the way it, slack-jawed open. Somebody said slack-jawed idiot's a thing for a reason.
Yeah,
it's possible, but if you watch these kind of, I watch Media Jack, and there's a lot of times where I'll catch where they reused footage because it drives me nuts. It's like just use a different clip. You had to have something else you could have thrown in because it's usually only for like a second. And so I'm a student of these things, and I missed it the first 2 times I've seen this. But I'm sorry, those are way too close. I bet you could superimpose those, and there's no difference.
Yeah, the head positioning looks the same. Mouth opening looks the same. I would agree with you.
3.5 years ago, similar reporting in the Washington Post and the Wall Street Journal. Are you the same man today that you were when you took office 3.5 years ago?
In terms of successes, yes. I also
Nobody's asking about successes. They're talking about whether or not you can fucking think. Your brain is melting. In terms of successes, I'll give you $1, Joe. I will donate to your campaign if you can say successes without slurring it.
was the guy who put together a peace plan for the Middle East.
I put together the Abraham Accords.
You mean the Middle East that's on fire right now? To
his
me,
plan for the Middle East was to give Iran $6 billion, monkey. Peace.
I just wonder if sometimes he thinks he is Trump because he takes credit for stuff Trump did.
It does look well. I mean, he's a notorious liar who's plagiarized stuff in the past. So,
Yeah.
I mean, would you put it past him? Because I sure would.
Fuck, his Memorial Day speech from just, a month and a half ago, lifted right from Reagan. But we don't talk about that because Trump's the liar.
That may be coming to fruition. I was also the guy that expanded NATO. I was also the guy that grew the economy.
You mean the recovery where you just allowed people to go back to their jobs? Yeah, okay, dude.
There's a reason that when I saw the jobs numbers, I wanted to highlight them before this. Don't worry, guys. The economy's it's healthy. It's healthy. He kickstarted it.
All the individual things that were done were ideas I had or I fulfilled. I moved.
They were ideas I had or fulfilled. Those are two entirely different things.
Absolutely. It's sort of like Al Gore saying he invented the internet, you know. But I envisioned this thing that would bring us all together. I'm a genius.
Moved on. And so, for example, well, that was true then. What's Biden done lately? It's just today, just announced 200,000 new jobs.
While admitting that of the 400,000 announced in the 2 previous months, 100,000 of them were made up.
Hate fact.
But the things he's listing aren't the question. I get what he's trying to do here, distract because we all saw it. But the question is, are you the same guy mentally? Joe did not go out and hire 200,000 people or put anything into place that caused any of this to happen.
You don't know.
I
don't
do
know what he does. He was a civil rights leader who learned politics from Puerto Ricans in a black neighborhood.
Oh, while he was driving truck. Don't forget that part.
Yeah, and
it's amazing. I've started anytime I see somebody say Trump is a liar, just listing a Joe Biden lie.
Yeah.
And you don't even have to repeat yourself. You can 50 years now of just fucking public lies. Anyway,
moving in a direction that no one's ever taken on. I know you know this from the days in the government. I took on Big Pharma. I beat them. No one said I could beat them.
You beat Big Pharma because you got the same deal that Trump had?
Yeah, well, he repealed Trump's plan and then re-implemented it when it backfired on him.
I took on all the things we said we got done. We were told we couldn't get done.
He can't even remember them.
Yeah, all the things. He did all the things.
All the things.
All the things they said he couldn't get done, he did them. Constitutionality aside, that student loan thing got thrown out, remember? But he did it anyway.
He did it anyway. Because he believes in law and order. Thank you, Dark Resurrect, for that feminist $12. Expanded NATO, huh? You mean the exact thing we weren't doing that Putin claims we were doing? How odd. Indeed.
Yeah.
None to see here.
Nothing to see.
Part of it is what I said when I ran was I wanted to do 3 things. Restore some decency to the office. Restore some support for the middle class instead of trickle-down economics built from the middle out and the bottom up. The way the wealthy still do fine, everyone does better.
he didn't mean what he said there. He said instead, and then listed off his own plan.
Yeah.
That's how bad he is. He doesn't even realize what he's saying.
But what his plan is stupid because during COVID, he shut down all the small businesses. So he effectively punished all the low-income people and the middle class by not letting them have their jobs.
Yeah, it was the rich who did well during COVID.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, and the big corporations. So whose side are you really on, Joe?
And remember, the first thing he said is respect for the office. Didn't you guys hire a dude who wears a dress who was found to be stealing people's clothing from airports?
Yeah, stealing luggage. I mean, that's just weird.
That's a way to restore the dignity, sir.
Yeah.
Unite the country.
But what has all that work over?
Wealthy still do fine. Everyone does better. And unite the country.
So those are the three things he did. He united the country, Jack. He's not wrong. Almost all of us think you have dementia.
Yeah, there's a large majority growing now that think you're nuts.
Oh, okay. I want to unite the country. Remember his unite the country thing? Except for all you shitbags. Yeah, that's Joe.
What has all that work over the last 3.5 years cost you physically, mentally, emotionally?
Well, I just think it cost me a really bad night.
It's what it was, you guys. Him uniting the country, it wore him out for that debate. If only that debate had been on a different night, he probably would have been okay, Jack.
He was too busy saving America.
It cost me a bad night. This motherfucker just said that. What he's doing here is giving you an out, Joe. He's going, look, yeah, it'll take your toll. And all presidents have said that. All presidents, yeah, this is not an easy job. But not Super Joe. Super Joe, yeah, it just cost me one bad night almost 4 years in.
Yeah, look, he's willing to sacrifice a bad night, not a good night. No, he won't sacrifice one of those. But he'll sacrifice a bad night for you, pleb. Now vote for him or you ain't black.
Lords of Media says OJ also had one bad night.
Yeah, getting caught.
That's not true. He had two because there was that unfortunate theft incident.
Bad run. But, George, I'm optimistic about this country. I don't think we're a country of losers anymore.
Who said we were? Where'd that come from?
The fuck are you talking about, Grandpa? Hey, what does all this hard work you've done cost you physically, emotionally, mentally? I don't think we're losers. Sure, why not? Dangerous, thank you. You have trannies flashing tits at the White House. Middle class can't afford groceries or gas. And you have arrested several political opponents, among other things. Failed on all three fronts, Joe. Now dangerous. Do you think he remembers any of that?
No. Although he seems to have gained a lot of inspiration from his buddy Zelensky.
Oh, yeah.
Real quick, though. Thank you, Dark Resurrect, for that feminist donation. Help the middle class, huh? My $300 grocery bill from $100 says otherwise. You have fucked us, Mr. Dementia Man. I agree completely. Not to mention the fluctuating gas prices. Gas is still like $3.75 around me.
How dare you not appreciate what he has done for you?
Yeah,
Sorry.
by raping my wallet. He sniffed all the money out of it.
He's building the bottom down and middle out. He's describing fat girls.
Yeah, he really
likes fat bottom bitches.
They make the rock and world go round, monkey.
And
also,
you know what? I like them too. I know you don't. That's fine.
But this is a good time to remind everybody, since we're halfway through the show, be sure to hit the like button, share it on your social media, subscribe if you haven't. If you're feeling generous, you can toss us a couple bucks at the links going through the chat and pinned at the top of the YouTube chat, because we're Poe and this is our job. And this is painful because this man is fucking nuts.
I get lots of enjoyment out of things like this, but there's also the part of me that's like, this is our president.
This is tragic in a lot
Yeah.
of ways. Like, I think Joe
Hey.
Biden's a piece of shit. He's been a piece of shit for 60, 70 years. But, dear God, go retire somewhere, man.
You keep bringing the bearded lady to the tent, and I'm going to keep laughing at her. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I know it's a sideshow, but at
Yeah.
the same time, like in the back of your head, there's that like we could be going Red Dawn any day now because of this man.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not, he doesn't have to start a war. He's just that incompetent that somebody will be like, because in medieval times, if your neighboring kingdom is this weak, you just go attack them, which would explain the southern border quite a lot, actually.
South. I don't think America's in tough shape. I think America's on the cusp of breaking through in so many incredible opportunities.
I thought you made everything great. But anyway, again, not the question, Joe. What do you think they would have done here, Jack, if it wasn't the unedited interview? You think this part makes it in?
No.
This next term, I'm going to make sure we have straighten out the tax system. I'm going to make sure we're in a situation where we have health care for all people. We're in a position where we have child care and elder care, free up.
I'm sure he's interested in the elder care part.
Yeah, no shit.
And all these things. One thing I'm proudest of is, remember when my economic plan was put forward, a lot of the mainstream economists said it's not going to work. Guess
no, a lot of them said it's going to cause massive fucking inflation, and you guys called them liars and then had to go, yeah, actually, they were right.
Well, no, they weren't right. We just are suffering some transitory inflation. Nothing to worry about. Just because your grocery prices have tripled, your taxes are higher, and you're paying an arm and a leg at the gas pump. That's on you. By the way, get an electric vehicle, you piece of shit.
Guess what? We now have 16 Nobel laureates, 16 of them in economics.
Paul Krugman is a Nobel laureate, and he's a fucking retard.
Yeah, being a Nobel Prize winner does not mean what it used to mean.
No. It basically means you're politically on the right side. It's political like everything else is these days. And no economist out there is getting a Nobel Prize for bucking the system and going, yeah, Keynesian is fucking stupid.
Saying that Biden's next term would be, based on what he wants to do, enormous success. Trump's plan would cause a recession, would significantly increase inflation.
You're really not going to point and say somebody's going to cause inflation, are you? Highest inflation in 40 years, and that's with the modern terminology, because if we did it the other way, it would be probably since the Depression.
Shut up.
And let's not forget, these same Nobel laureates said the same thing about Trump, that his policies were going to just crash the economy when he took over in 2017.
And yet we were doing great.
And instead, we had 3 years of unprecedented growth. The unemployment for all ways that we measure it, you don't get it below the 3% that it was at. It would be almost unheard of to have higher or lower. Thank you, Comrade Kitty. So great that California is past zombie apocalypse. New York is third world country, and my bills went up 300%. Hey, Comrade, he did all that for you. How dare you not be grateful?
Yeah. Jeez.
I just noticed he's not wearing his wedding ring. He probably lost it.
Maybe he ate it.
Or maybe he's sick of Jill's shit. That's the one thing he can remember. I can't stand this bitch.
Jill took it away from him.
He kept putting it in his mouth and swallowing it. She got tired of sorting his poop.
I like the taste of the metal.
Look, it fits on my tongue.
I've made great progress, and that's what I plan on doing. And we can do this.
I just want to remind you guys, the question was, how was the toll on you mentally, physically, and emotionally? And his only kind of answer to that was, I had a bad night. And then he went off for a minute on nonsensical stuff where he couldn't even remember what he was trying to say during it. He had to stop repeatedly. Who allowed this to happen? Who is the dummy working for the White House or the campaign? Well, it'd be a great idea when he's clearly having some bad times right now. Let's put his ass on TV again.
Well, they were probably expecting the edit version, but even then, this was a terrible move, especially after that performance at the debate. I don't know why they do anything that isn't just canned videos released from the White House directly. Putting this man in the public where he's a wild card like this, terrible idea.
There was something I was going to bring up, but I'm actually going to save it for a little while.
Oh,
remind me when we get to the campaign stuff, the crowd specifically, to bring something up. Anyway.
Oh, okay.
I understand that, and I'm not disputing that. What I'm asking you is,
you're not disputing anything he just said. None of that raised an alarm bell with you that this motherfucker just said all that. How many times did we stop? Like 6? And he's like, I'm not disputing any of that because you're awesome. Jesus Christ, man.
about your personal situation. Do you dispute that there have been more lapses, especially in the last several months?
Can I run the 110 flat? No.
Do you dispute that there have been more lapses, meaning mental, Joe? Can I run the 110 seconds flat?
We gotta do push-ups now.
Joe, and I'm not being mean to anyone here. We have races with mentally retarded people. They can run.
Kind of.
It's funny to watch sometimes. Where the fuck is he going? Anyway, can I still run real fast? Nobody was asking that.
I remember this time I trained a guy, Hussein. He was a nice fella. Taught him how to run properly.
Can I run the 110 flat? No. But I'm still in good shape.
Are you more frail?
No.
No, I'm just struggle breathing right now like a fat girl at a buffet.
Just do this. Go out and find any one of the debates from 2020 and watch one segment of Joe talking during that and one segment from the other night.
Yeah.
Or anything from this year where he's been on television.
Of course he's more frail now. He was in bad shape then. And you can see the progression. He shuffles around like he's got his shoelaces tied, like you said the other day. Great way of phrasing that. And he cannot quickly answer anything the way Trump can, or normal people for that matter. He's obviously frail and declining. If he can't see that, he's probably having a fourth stroke because he's had 3.
I know you spoke.
Keep my schedule.
I know.
Come keep your schedule.
Oh, Grisella makes a good point. Oh, sorry, I cut you off there.
No, go ahead.
No one can run the 110 flat. That would be upright.
True.
So unless he's the Flash, I don't think that's going to happen. I just pooped myself.
No.
I know you spoke.
Keep my schedule.
Come keep my schedule.
Oh, I'm on the go. I'm a mover and shaker.
Is it really hard to live in a mansion and work 3 hours a day at most?
Hey,
let's be fair and give the White House 5 hours a day at most.
Yeah, we got people in our audience that do manual labor. You know, like you're out working construction or on the beat as a cop, or being a fireman, or even an Amazon delivery driver. All those guys do way more than this guy does in a day, physically and probably mentally too. Because a lot of the stuff, he doesn't really have to do anything. It's like photo ops and signing your name on shit.
Reading a teleprompter.
Yeah. That's what staffers are for. And a lot of his staffers have delegated stuff especially for his briefings. They're the ones up on everything.
Yeah. But don't worry, guys. He keeps a really tough schedule and a bad night. Don't forget the bad night.
Yeah.
Just for God's sake, man. Try to keep my schedule. Joe, I am an unemployed YouTuber. I bet you couldn't keep my schedule. And I don't even have one. I get to set my own times.
Yeah. How sad is that? We have like the easiest job in the world. And
Joe couldn't do it.
No, he couldn't. Because I don't think he could maintain a coherent thought long enough. It would just be like dribble and babble and word glued together. We need a term for it because where you just mash words together like that. Because I don't think there's an actual term for it.
It's called Bidening.
Bidening. The Bidening. It's like the Happening, only better. That was a terrible movie.
27 likes to get to 100. Guys, hit the like button. Anyway.
Like, share, and subscribe.
I know you spoke with your doctor after the debate. What did he say?
He said, he just looked at me. He said, you're exhausted.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
Well, this may have been a phantom. We were told he didn't meet with a doctor, but there might have been a ghost there.
Your doctor did not look at you and what happened there and just go, you're exhausted. And if he did, we need to start looking into who we're employing to, take care of the medical health of the president of the United States.
You got Dr. Nick down there. You're just tired.
It was Dr. Disrespect. That's who it was.
I have medical doctors travel me everywhere. Every president does, as you know. Medical doctors, some of the best in the world, travel me everywhere I go.
And none of them told you, hey, you're kind of sick. You should probably announce this before the debate. You just told us a minute ago you had a cold. You were sick. He said that, right?
Yeah.
That's why his jet lag lasted 2 fucking weeks with a week completely off.
It's a really cool jet, Monkey.
It's
the
Concorde.
Yeah, Grizz, the doctor he talked to was Kevorkian, and he is dead. Schrodinger's doctor. You guys are funny.
Oh, god damn, man.
Real quick, thank you, President Biden. The interview was supposed to have Andy Serkis in a mocap suit playing me, but that fell through. I wanted him to say, America together strong, like in that nice chimp movie. Not a joke. I asked if Buster Keaton was available, but they said no. I like him.
Oh, for God's sake.
That
man.
this is pretty on point.
It really was. I like the not a joke, because he does say that a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Or
not a joke.
Look here.
If you guys have never seen Joe do this, he always does it after something that's like very obvious, like the sun is hot. Not a joke.
Yeah, like who thought that would be a joke?
Nobody thought that would. Yo, Jesus Christ. Anyway, yes, well done, well done.
I have an ongoing assessment of what I'm doing. They don't hesitate to tell me if they think there's something wrong.
So the doctors who told you you were sick see you after this, and all they say is you're exhausted. They didn't be like, maybe we should run another test.
Yeah, because I mean, all the times you stand there staring at Trump with his mouth half open, your doctor doesn't think that's an issue.
There is no doctor that I would go to who would watch what we saw on debate night of Biden and go, I wouldn't worry at all.
Right?
This must be the doctor that all those fat people go to. Like, the doctor didn't even pay attention to me.
He blames all my medical problems on my fatness. He's like, you're fat. You're diabetic because you're fat. Yeah, fatty.
Oh, no, Comrade Kitty, your screen is not tinted. There's a concerted effort to turn Joe orange. And you can see they missed a little spot under his chin balls.
Yeah.
And it drives me nuts as you watch this because there's that white part right there.
I know. It almost looks like he's trying to grow a hipster goatee.
It does.
But they're really going for that Oompa Loompa voter contingent.
Mm-hmm.
I know you said you have an ongoing assessment. Have you had a full neurological and cognitive evaluation?
I get a full neurological test every day.
I had a thought about this, Jack.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. When was the last time you had cereal?
A couple years ago.
You know, on the back of the box, because they don't put toys in there anymore because it's too expensive, they put like puzzles and stuff on there.
Yeah, it's lame.
I think that when he sits down to his Fruit Loops each day and he has to unscramble like the word rabbit, he's like, see, that's a cognitive test.
You know, that one surprised me. I liked my theory a little better.
Oh, I didn't see yours.
Oh, yeah, I commented on that. I think that the maid comes in the morning, be like, Mr. President, are you awake? Because she wants to make the bed. And he's like, yes, stop giving me tests. Why are you challenging me? And
Well, every day
Dr. Quinn, medicine woman.
Every day those doctors around him, and when they see him the first thing in the morning, they go, how are you today, sir? And that's a cognitive test from the doctor.
Yeah. Those people that he thinks are wearing lab coats, you know, they're lab coats are janitors.
For the record, man, he's trying to be metaphorical here.
Yeah,
I should let him keep going because he gives that same answer twice.
With me. And I've had a full physical. I had, I've been able to read for my physicals. Yes, the answer is
The answer is yes, except for you didn't actually name an act. The question was, have you had a neurological exam? I've had a full physical. They don't give you a neurological exam in a physical.
I've never had a neurological exam because I'm not a nerd.
But George tries to get this clarified.
I know your doctor said he consulted with a neurologist. I guess I'm asking a slightly different question. Have you had the specific cognitive tests?
That's not a different question. That is the same fucking question you just asked that he dodged completely.
Yeah. But, well, he didn't understand it, so he wasn't dodging. He just didn't grasp the question.
But it's him doing what he's done with every question here, softballing this shit. He should go, dude, I asked you a very pointed question. Have you had a neurological exam?
It's an easy question to answer. Be like, I don't need to take one, or yes, whichever. Yeah. You could play it either way.
We would absolutely be making fun of him if he said he didn't need one, but at least that's an answer to the question.
Yeah.
No, I haven't had I don't need it. What are you talking about? It's a stupid answer, especially with all we've seen, but he's like, I've had a physical. Somebody squeezed my nuts and told me to cough, and my brain is fine.
Dr. Jill gives me a test every morning. She says, who am I? And I'm like, you're my sister.
That's a joke because he has confused his wife with his sister. Not the way that Ilhan Omar's brother did.
Thankfully. Well, we don't know
that we know of. That we know of.
I mean
he does like showering with family members.
Yeah. You know, I have a theory, by the way, that I'm going to throw out real quick.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if Nick Rekieta's kid didn't get all coked up so he could try for a presidential pardon.
Oh, maybe.
Because, it's in her hair. So Biden be like, that's the most delicious hair I've ever had.
Start grinding his teeth.
Boy.
And have you had a neurologist, a specialist, do an examination?
No one said I had to.
You finished the last question with the answer is yes. He restates the question and pointedly asks the same fucking thing. And your answer is no. Nobody said I had to.
Yeah, what a weird response, too. Like that. This is somebody that's used to other people telling him what to do.
Yeah. But what is it? What the fuck is that? Nobody said I had to. How about I don't need one?
Yeah, that's the proper response. The first response he gave is like, I get one every day. He's talking about how challenging his job is. Like,
he comes back to it.
They test my metal. Ugh.
Yeah, this is literally just like Jill didn't say I needed one. Oh, poop my pants.
Mommy said I don't have to take one. Poop myself.
He literally he ended the last one. You could make the argument that he did finally answer it, even though with his full answer, you can tell he was lying. But he says the answer is yes. Now, what I'm asking is, have you had a specific neurological test? No, nobody said I needed to. Joe,
why would I do that?
You're an 80-plus-year-old man. Why do you need people to tell you what to do? Is it because you can't be trusted to make your own decisions? I'm going to go with that.
No one said they said I'm good.
Would you be willing to undergo?
No one said they said I'm good. Yeah, I believe nobody has said you're good. 100%.
An independent medical evaluation that included neurological and cognitive tests and release the results to the American people?
Look, I have a cognitive test every single day. Every day I have that test.
Yeah, we saw that on last Thursday.
I'm forged in the fires of war, monkey. War, I tell you.
Do you really want to go with the metaphor that you're tested every day and it proves your cognitive ability when we're all questioning your cognitive ability because what we see every day?
You just don't understand what it's like being a Biden. It's a challenge.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Everything I do, not only am I campaigning, but I'm running the world. And that's not how it sounds like hyperbole. But
no, it sounds like bullshit because nobody believes you're running anything.
Yeah, I run the whole world. What are you, Dr. Evil? Like, I mean, you just gave a ton of Alex Jones level conspiracy theorists something to go with, like New World Order, but
I'm running the world. Even if I believed that Joe Biden's White House was running the world, which I don't, I wouldn't think Joe was the one in charge.
No, I do believe that they are allowing him to spin a big globe, though.
Oh, yeah.
That might be what he's talking about.
I control it all.
This is all mine. And they just play with dinosaurs on the floor.
The essential nation in the world. Madeleine Albright was right. And every single day, for example, today, before I come out here, I'm on the phone with the Prime Minister of, anyway, I shouldn't get into detail, but
I forgot who it was.
It
was with somebody.
Should be giving you details. What details? Like a name? You don't remember a name that's somehow top secret, even though you're gonna say who it was in a minute anyway. You stupid old man. Yeah. Oh, anyway, I should say who it is. He does this backpedal thing all the time, and it's to cover for the fact that he forgot where he was going with this.
Yeah. Remember, we know from all of the Trump Ukraine, the first impeachment, all of the White House stuff is logged. Them talking to a prime minister or a foreign leader is not secret. I shouldn't say that. Jesus Christ, Joe. This is our president. And apparently the leader of the world. You're welcome, world.
Yeah. You didn't know you voted for this, but here you are, Canada.
Netanyahu. I'm on the phone with the new Prime Minister of England. I'm working on what we're doing with regard to in Europe with regard to expansion of NATO and whether it's going to stick. I'm taking
whether what's going to stick.
The plan to expand NATO to piss off Putin a little more. Like, he's already admitted that he's effectively the reason why Ukraine got invaded.
How many more North Atlantic countries are there?
I mean, Luxembourg's waiting there. I'm sure they're like, we're next. Fingers crossed, guys.
You guys know that's what the NA means in NATO, right? North Atlantic. It's not the United Nations. It's a very specific pact. Anyway, yeah, we hope NATO sticks.
on Putin. I mean, every day, there's no day I go through that are not those decisions I have to make every single day.
And you have been doing that, and the American people have been watching.
okay, let's just back up. These are the decisions he has to make every single day. And what he named off was talking to people on the phone.
Yeah, it's a tough decision. Some days he wants to draw with his crayons. Other days he wants to talk to Netanyahu and see what's up.
He didn't name a single fucking decision.
Just let it happen.
Except answering the phone, I suppose.
Yeah, well, I mean, he hears this ringy dingy ding noise, and he's not sure if it's the alarm or not.
It's his life alert bracelet going off.
Yeah. Am I dying? You guys hear that too, right?
Yet their concerns about your age and your health
It's not his age.
are growing. So that's why I'm asking, to reassure them, would you be willing to have the independent medical evaluation?
Watch me there's a lot of time left in this campaign. It's over 125 days.
That was an odd jump cut. Let's see that again.
I'm left in this campaign. It's over 125 days.
So
I'll
the
make
answer,
a decision.
the right answer right now is no, you don't want to do that right
No,
now.
I've already done it.
No, you haven't. You just said a minute ago that you didn't.
Well, no, he does it through his performance monkey. Every day he's on the phone with somebody. How much would I bet he forgets he talked to Netanyahu and calls him like every 2 hours?
Probably does. Poor Benji's over there going, God damn it, it's Joe again.
Yeah. Oh, kind of feel bad for any world leader that has talked to him.
Oh, me too.
It was nice of the Italian prime minister to go wrangle him up at Normandy.
Fetch him?
Though. Yeah.
Go play Easter Bunny?
Yeah. Like, you know how embarrassing that'd be? You're the first female PM there, and your job is to look awesome for this thing because you're this supposed hard right, conservative or whatever, and suddenly you're on old man duty,
No
like you're a
shit.
nurse, like not even a good nurse, but like a candy striper that's like, Grandpa, this way, because he just assumes you're his daughter or granddaughter. Ugh, gross. And he probably shit himself too.
Angelverse, thank you for the Shinuboo sticker. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. That's a Shinuboo.
That's a Shiba Inu.
It's a Shibuboo.
I haven't seen anybody give you a sticker in a long time.
We have not had a sticker in a long time.
No, I
And
didn't know
I-
there was to them. That's awesome.
I don't blame people for it because I usually watch the chat through StreamYards and I can't
Yeah.
even see them, so I have to ask what they were. But
Yeah,
I have
yeah.
the YouTube chat open as well. I've changed how I set up my screen so I can see everything better.
Oh,
Anyway.
good.
You talked a lot about your successes at the beginning of this interview, and I don't want to dispute that. I don't want to debate that. But as you know,
Why not?
Because he'd have to press him on something, and he'd lose his liberal street cred.
elections are about the future, not the past. They're about tomorrow, not yesterday. And the question on so many people's
Tell
minds
that
right
to
now is,
George H.W. Bush.
Mr. Yes, thank you so much. So what's really going to happen on July 11th? I don't know what July 11th we're talking about. I don't know what's supposed to be happening on July 11th.
Oh.
I am unfamiliar.
Oh. Yeah, me too.
Is
Quick.
Is he scheduled to have a heart attack?
Did the FBI leak anything? Because, I mean, I don't rule anything out at this point. But real quick, thank you, Eagle, for the donation. Appreciate that. He said, just because, my friend. Well, I appreciate that, dude. I really do. I hope you're doing well.
Sentencing. Oh, was that supposed to be sentencing? And yes, the Steam sale ends on July 11th. For the record, guys, one of my favorite games that I play when I can't do very much else, Jack, is Bloons Tower Defense 6. It's on sale for like less than $2.
I don't know what that is. I've been playing a lot of Mistplay lately, so I've been playing a lot of stupid ass games.
The sale this year is really, really good. So if you enjoy video games, Steam is something to check out. All right, it's the summer sale, man. They always get me on the summer sale.
Everybody's saying it was the sentencing, but that's been delayed till what, Monday or something. It got delayed for a little while.
Sentencing date for Trump postponed until September. Gotcha. Why would it be postponed?
Because there's some constitutional challenges to some of his tweets because they would fall under official acts and they were using them as evidence against him.
Huh. All right.
Yeah, it also will delay his appeal. So,
Can you serve effectively for the next 4 years?
George, I'm the guy that put NATO together. The future.
I'm sorry. What was that?
what he's trying to say is that he created the future of NATO. But what he said was, I created NATO.
I'm the one who put NATO together.
Yeah. Well, it started with the League of Nations, and I moved my way up to the UN. And then I was like, I'm going to make NATO.
Oh, there's a lot of people in chat reacting. This is not the dumbest thing he says in this part.
Shockingly agreed.
It's actually what he says directly after that is. Wait for it.
Next 4 years.
George, I'm the guy that put NATO together. The future. No one thought I could expand it. I'm the guy that shut Putin down.
Yep, he just said that.
Yeah.
I'm the guy
Putin's winning.
You're the guy who made Putin richer than he could have been.
Yeah, you're the reason that that Ukraine got invaded in the first place by throwing all the NATO memberships around like they're fucking Pez, apparently, and then challenging Putin, and then that Putin went in. Also, are we not going to mention Afghanistan withdrawal?
No.
I mean, technically, that war ended on Joe's watch, but then we'd have to be reminded of 13 dead soldiers that he didn't care about.
Shut Putin down, then why are we still sending Ukraine money? Now, dangerous. Stop asking pertinent questions.
Yeah. I shut Putin down.
This
Shut
is
him down
legacy.
like a Kroger store at 12 p.m.
This is legacy. Fuck me. Legacy media. Fuck me. This is traditional media. There we go.
Yeah.
I have a stutter. Leave me alone. It's them doing their job the only way they know how. Just a good old boy.
Oh,
No,
yeah,
fuck it
Jen,
happened.
you might be onto something. He might have said, I'm the guy who shut Poopy down because he was pushing poop down into his diaper.
I'm the guy that put together the South Pacific Initiative with AUKUS. I'm the guy that got.
You mean the follow-up to TPP that nobody wanted and was a bad idea?
No, it was the military alliance between Australia, us, and Japan?
Is that the one he's talking about?
That's what he's talking about, which I think Trump really started that.
Okay.
Yeah,
That
thank
white
you, Eagle.
spot-
Trump started that.
That white spot under his chin is really bothering me.
I know. I bet that's where I bet he puts his chin down when he tans, because I've seen that. I used to work at a tanning salon.
Well, it's where his balls were hanging on his neck.
Yeah. Well, he's got a little gobbler going, so when he puts his chin down, his chin balls are probably pressing right there.
One year for a joke I took, and the only place I put any sunscreen on my chest, I drew a big F. And for the whole summer, that F would not go away.
50 nations, not only in Europe, outside of Europe as well, to help Ukraine. I'm the guy that got Japanese to expand their budget.
See, this is a part where I thought he was talking about the military thing, which again wasn't under it. If you're going to take credit for them expanding their military budget, that's because they're worried about China because you're a soft piece of shit.
Yeah, that's exactly why. Look, they've been expanding their military for a while, their defense force, and only recently did they repeal the part of their constitution that says they can't have a military.
Yep.
And they're expanding it because they're worried the U.S. isn't going to do anything if China gets aggressive, like really, really gunfire aggressive. They're scared we won't back them up.
Yeah.
And they're probably right.
And taking credit for, I got them to expand their budget. by scaring the shit out of them.
Yeah, by making them think we're not going to have their back.
By
That's
doing exactly
pathetic.
what you're trying to pretend Trump is going to do to people with NATO. Yeah, they're not. We're not going to have their back. That's what Trump said. If they don't pay, is what he said.
Yeah. Trump's the kind of guy that if you're his friend, and he'll go all out for you. But if he doesn't trust you, fuck you.
So, I mean, and for example, when I decided,
Remember, the question is, the presidency is about the future, not the past. Are you sure you're gonna be able to do anything? And he lists off some shit that, one, he had no part of many of it, and other parts he shouldn't be bragging about, and all of it's in the past.
we used to have 40% of the computer chip, and we invented the chip, that little chip, the computer chip. It's in everything from cell phone to weapons. And so we used to have 40%, we're down to virtually nothing. So I get in the plane against the advice of everybody, and I fly to South Korea. I convinced them to invest in the United States billions of dollars.
Trump did that.
What you did, sir, was pass the CHIPS Act, which gave billions of dollars for people to build here, billionaire companies that have plenty of money to do it in the first place, and allowed them to spend that money in China, you shit.
Well, look, China bought a lot of Hunter's paintings.
Oh, he's such a... And George doesn't challenge him on any of this shit.
No, it's all considered gospel.
Everybody said I shouldn't do it. Nobody said that. This isn't Trump going to North Korea. It's going to one of our allies, a longtime ally who, we help keep from getting invaded.
Yeah.
Who told you, hey, Joe, don't go to South Korea and ask them to please make shit here?
Because he would sniff all the K-pop stars.
Maybe that was it. They're like, hey, everybody looks young over there. Just don't go.
I got to meet that after-school band.
You're going to sprain your nose.
Yeah. Hey, girls' generation. I'm president of the free world. I'm the president of the planet. What kind of shampoo do you use?
Oh, everybody told him not to go to South Korea. This isn't Nixon going to China or Reagan saying tear down this wall.
No, it's more monumental.
Fuck.
Now we have tens of billions of dollars being invested in the United States, making us back in a position where we're going to own that industry again.
Are we? Are we?
No, at best we're going to have a couple of factories. I mean, yeah, maybe we could get our way up to like 10% in 7 or 8 years, but
hey, they spent billions and trillions actually on this CHIPS Act thing. So we are bringing that money back here by spending more money on it than the United States will see from it. That's a good thing. And remember, it can be spent in China. It can be spent anywhere, actually. There's no limits on it in that manner. What country it'll be spent in.
We have, I just, anyway, I don't want to take too much credit.
Okay.
You just took credit for making NATO bigger and stopping Putin.
And he's been doing this since the beginning, bragging, because even George points out, you list off these. I don't want to challenge those things. He's at least 3 times gone into these long things about how much he's done, but when he loses his train of thought, he always does this.
Anyway.
There's that telling anyway. When you hear him say anyway, he's forgot what the fuck he was saying. How many times have we seen him do that, Jack?
Oh, too many to count. But that was one of the early tells that we picked up on that a lot of other people didn't, and they said we were stupid.
It goes all the way back to the DNC debates in 2020.
Yeah.
I don't want to take too much credit. I have a great staff.
But I guess my point is, all that takes a toll. Do you have the mental and physical capacity to do it for another 4 years?
I wouldn't be running like.
Reader of Pain says, look. I don't want to brag, but I'm the leader of the free fucking motherfucking world. Yes, I paraphrase that a little bit, but yeah. I'm the leader. I lead the whole world. I don't want to brag. I don't want to brag. I have a good staff.
George, I look, I don't like to brag, but I got the whole world in my hands.
I didn't think I did. Look,
Wait,
4
say that again.
years.
I believe I wouldn't be running if I didn't think I did.
I wouldn't be there if I think about it. Did. This is the redemption arc, Jack.
Yeah, I'd hate to see the we're going further downhill arc. Like they always say, when you're in a hole, stop digging. And he's just taking it sideways. Like, I'm gonna make a tunnel at the bottom of this thing.
He's gonna be like Bugs Bunny and through to China here any moment.
No, he's gonna burrow like Bugs Bunny and make little tunnels all over the place. You know, more like Rambo in the last Rambo movie. He's gonna have a network of VC tunnels.
Thank you, Dark Resurrect, for that feminist $12. Look, I don't want to brag, but I'm basically better than Jesus. Yeah.
Oh, I knew Jesus. Together we founded the Apostles. It was a great band.
Jesus had good staff too, except for that Judas fella.
Look, I'm running again because I think I understand best what has to be done.
You don't understand English at this moment.
I don't think you understand where you are, sir.
To take this nation to a completely new level. We're on our way. We're on our way. And look, the decision recently made by the Supreme Court on immunity.
You know, during the debate, there was a lot of times where the questions being asked, if they were addressed at all, it was at the end after they were, rambling about something else. But it was typically in response to what the other guy had said, that whether it was Biden or Trump, that they didn't get a chance to respond to.
Yeah.
Here, he's just out of nowhere pulling fucking thing like, is this taking a toll on you? Can you still do this? Let's talk about that recent Supreme Court decision.
No, Monkey, this is free-forming. See, he's like, he's slaying the beats down like a slam poet would. Like, he's taking what you said, he's moving it in a new direction. This is like synth pop in the early days, man. You just don't get it, what he's laying down.
Joe, if I'm you, I look into the CIA and see if they've stopped tracking anybody they've been tracking for 4 years for no reason. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, no shit. Any suspicious characters that came over the border, and they're suddenly like, oh, that guy slipped through the cracks.
Yeah, if there's anybody passing out Castro memorabilia, you might want to look into it.
Oh, a little bit. Find out if his name is like, I don't know, Coswald.
If he uses all three of his names, James Earl Ray, Lee Harvey, something like that, just have him locked up immediately. Pretend he's Trump and throw him in jail.
Yeah, there you go. Real quickly though, thank you, Dark Resurrect, for that feminist donation. Look, Jesus had a good staff too, except for the Judas ass Trumpus. Never did like that dog-faced pony soldier. Well, that's because that guy had 30 pieces of silver. The rest all was broke.
James Earl Jones, yeah, he was Darth Vader. I'm telling you, people who use all three names, they're evil.
President of the United States, it's not just about whether he or she knows what they're doing. It's not about a conglomerate of people making decisions. It's about the character of the president.
You had to drop out in 88 for plagiarism and lying, dude. It's about the character, Jack. You just plagiarized a speech less than 2 months ago.
No, one of the staffers did that.
And that's not even getting into, all the foreign money we're not supposed to talk about.
No, we don't talk about that. I'm not sad.
The character of the president is going to determine whether or not this Constitution is employed the right way.
Let me ask you a tougher, more personal question. Are you sure you're being honest with yourself when you say you have the mental and physical capacity to serve another 4 years?
Yes, I am, because, George, the last thing I want to do is not be able to meet that.
That part is true. Everybody around Biden, especially his wife, especially Jill, does not want Biden to have something where we can't just go, yeah, this was a fucking disgrace. And that's the part to me that is really weird about how Jill has been handling this. He's at a point right now where there's no getting around this.
Yeah, it's just too obvious now.
It's
too many
embarrassing.
people were willing to bury their heads in the sand with the clips and the cheap fakes and all the distractions. A lot of people now are just like, wow, this is way more real than I ever thought.
Thank you, Frosted. You know how movies use Foley artists to make sound effects? News interviews do the same thing. For example, if you take the crazy frog meme from the early 2000s and slow it to a quarter speed, you get the sound of Joe trying to get his thoughts together. Yeah, you can just hear it. Oh, Jesus Christ. I don't understand why they haven't pulled him. Even though I disagree with them. If Joe steps down, and especially right after the interview or the debate, and frankly, he should have done it beforehand, he gets to go out on a high. He gets to go out like Johnson did at the time. Johnson was getting unpopular, but he still probably would have won the election.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And it's not until history comes back and looks at everything that happens, and they're like, wow, Johnson was kind of a piece of shit.
Yep.
He would have got to go out on that high, and only, historical nerds would have been like, no, Biden was a complete piece of shit, horrible person, did bad shit. They're tarnishing his legacy by letting him keep going.
Yeah. I think their thinking is that by having him bow out at any point, it's going to tarnish his legacy. But if you're bowing out for a medical reason, people are very forgiving of that.
Especially if he had done this, though, earlier in the campaign, right? You go back to, say, February, and Joe come out and go, I've done enough. It's done. We're going to turn the reins over to somebody else. Let's have a great campaign and see who's going to represent the Democratic Party. His whole side cheers for him, and all of the cheap fakes are still just considered cheap fakes. Even they can't get around it now.
Yeah, they could have just dismissed it all. Like, yeah, he's getting a little senile, but he's on his way out, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
he turns into like a lame duck president where he's not really going to get that much more done, but any criticism is just ignored. Now they can't help it. The memes are spectacular.
Thank you, Dark Resurrect, for that feminist $12. In all seriousness, I wish Biden would just step down. Nothing would be more embarrassing as a nation than to have him 25th. It means we elected an actual retard. How many times did I say during the campaign of 2020, I do not want to have a president that has to be 25th?
Yeah, but it's looking more and more like they're going to Jill and Hunter want this influence so much they're going to fight for that 25th.
I don't think the Democrats are going to push it. I really don't. Because in all honesty, it's in their best interest to drag this out at least a couple more months.
Yeah.
You do not want Gavin Newsom as your candidate right now. You do not want Kamala Harris as your candidate right now.
No, they're going to wait till the convention to spring that on everybody so that Trump's team only has like 1 or 2 months to come up with a defense against him and do oppositional research.
If you look at, Gavin Newsom, yeah, they love him in California, but outside of California, you tell people, hey, he made it so 24-year-old men can butt fuck 14-year-old boys, and they're going to go, I'm sorry, I have questions about that.
Yeah. Gavin Newsom is not going to play well in the South or the Midwest.
I don't think he plays
pedos in New York. I don't know.
Yeah, I think maybe your most stronghold blue states, Colorado, New York, California, maybe New Jersey, maybe Wisconsin, maybe.
Chicago.
Or sorry,
area.
Minnesota, not Wisconsin. I just don't think that you're going to get that. And then with Kamala, all you got to do is play the Tulsi Gabbard thing from the debates.
I would just have an endless thing of her laughing and superimpose slowly images of the Joker over it.
There was a great meme somebody sent me. It says it's Kamala laughing, and it says Kamala when the middle of a sentence is coming up. Anyhow, yeah, it's in the Democrats' best interest to keep him in for a while. And Republicans, I want to address this real fast because I was called the F slur today, Jack. Except for the fag that said it didn't have the balls to actually say it, so it just said agate.
Really? That's childish and lame.
Well, it was a meme picture. See, he was pulling it out of his pocket, and you can't see the F. Here's what I said. Somebody said, "Hey, stop telling Biden to leave because he's our best chance to get Trump back in the presidency." And I was like, that's a bad idea because that means the guy who can't pick out his own fucking shoes is still president. Do you guys understand what he can still do in 4 months?
Oh, you could drag us into a war.
Exactly. There is one thing that universally people go, we won't change course during this thing. What is that thing?
War.
It's war. You don't think that these guys be like, he's gonna lose. It's early October. Maybe Ukraine needs our help.
Yeah, and then, next thing you know, you've got some wag the dog situation where Russia accidentally kills a few Americans on a jetliner somewhere that the CIA shot down, and we're dragged into a war.
Look, have a little more faith in Trump because he can beat any of the Democrats that are being thrown out there, even Whitmer.
They don't have any really good candidates right now.
No, their bench is very thin. This motherfucker should not be in office. Not just drop out of the race. He should be removed from office if he won't go on his own. Yeah.
I told you this was going to happen, and nobody listened to me. I said they're going to get rid of Biden. Nah, that's not going to happen. Yes, I'm more convinced that he is not going to be on the ticket at the end of this election cycle.
I'm waiting to see how this Senate meeting goes because I'm of two minds. The Democrats have to get rid of this guy. He's a loser, and they all know it, and they're going to lose the election if they run him.
Yeah, he's dead weight at this point. That albatross of that debate is not going away.
But I do not believe that him or Jill will allow that to happen. So
no, not unless there's a lot of money in it for him, because Jill would want a cabinet position or a book deal, maybe both. She's going to want something to preserve Joey's legacy and still be in the public eye.
They can't preserve his legacy now.
No, I think it's irreparable, but her ego is not going to accept that as an answer.
Yeah, that's why if you asked me, gun to my head, what do you think is most likely? It's an Oswald situation. They're going to take him out.
Yeah. Look, we thought that was possible with Trump before.
I still do.
Yeah, I'm still not ruling that out. But it's more likely here. Like, they could do something to where he dies in his sleep. It won't be that hard. They fuck with his medication, and he just passes away gracefully in the night. And then you got Cackles McGee there. She'll get intimidated out.
Random says, isn't there a state which they cannot change the candidate now short of his death? On paper, sure. But if you look at what the Supreme Court has ruled when it comes to the parties, they are corporations. And they can change whatever the fuck they want to whenever the fuck they want to.
Yeah, what they'll do is they'll have the state Congress, like hypothetically in like here in Ohio, they'll just have the Ohio Senate get together with the Ohio House and pass a bill to change the ballots and do an emergency printing of them. Yeah. That's all they'll do.
On paper, yes, there's several of them where they're locked in. It is Joe, but no, that's not how it works in reality.
Yeah, they did that recently because in Ohio the deadline was coming up to be on the ballot, and they hadn't officially made him the candidate yet, so they had to pass some legislation to get it changed. That's why I use that example.
All right, back to Dementia Joe here.
I think
I didn't even mean to slur that. That was on accident.
as some of the senior economists and senior foreign policy specialists say, if I stop now, I go down history as a pretty successful president. No one thought I could get done what we got done.
I did. I just don't think
mean,
you should have.
It's pretty impressive to destabilize the entire globe in 3 years.
Yeah. Nobody thought I could spend a bunch of money. Really?
But are you being honest with yourself as well about your ability to defeat Donald Trump right now?
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
You say that, and let me challenge you.
Sure.
Because you were close, but behind going into the debate. You're further behind now by any measure. It's been a two-man race for several months. Inflation has come down. In those last few months, he's become a convicted felon.
Okay. One, stop with the inflation has come down, because you can't keep saying that without mentioning that it never dropped. We never had a deflationary period. So every time they say inflation has come down, that just means it's lower than it was. That doesn't mean that it's that all of the inflation that we're still dealing with went away.
Look, your hate facts have no place here. Thank you, Comrade Kitty, for that freedom donation of 1776. I know you might not know this character, but Biden is a bad version of the Onsler. How bad can I be? I'm just starting World War III. The Onceler? I don't know that character, but yeah, he's just starting setting up the stage for a little World War III. What could go wrong, comrade? What could go wrong? That's his accomplishment. Indeed.
Yet you're still falling further behind.
You guys keep saying that. George, you know polling better than anybody. Do you think polling data is accurate as it used to be?
It's as accurate as it ever was, yeah. Again, guys, remember the problem with the poll results in 2016 weren't that they showed Hillary winning by a large margin all over the place. It was how the news was interpreting those polls. And that's how you end up with the 97% or 98% chance of her winning on election night. That was not based on any fucking poll. That was based on them going, oh, this says she's ahead nationally, and she did win the popular vote. But when the popular vote, California is a huge fucking state, and they go so blue it's retarded. Yeah. Seriously, do you guys have any free thought out there?
That's overrated.
Yeah, if you look at the actual polling, they were pretty close. Thank you, Ministry of Wrongthink. Is it just me, or do Biden's eyes look artificially, unnaturally open? They do look more open than they normally are, without him doing his big head thing, where he pulls his forehead way back.
Yeah.
That's Botox.
Yeah, I think that's from the meds.
Yeah. Look, fat, I fixed inflation. I'm the ruler of the free world. Two sides of the same coin. Fuck off, monk. What? Polling is bad. And the reason... What was that?
Sorry, my phone.
Oh, you're fine. The problem with polling is how they weight polling. But if you pay attention and you know what you're looking at, typically if you see a Democrat winning and it's a very, very slim margin, chances are they're probably actually losing. Is this stream on Rumble? Yes, it is. Polling hasn't changed much in my lifetime. It's always weighted more Democrat. That's why when we look at things like Trump is ahead, and even if it's by like 2 points, you're like, This is a big problem for Biden because if it's only showing 2 points, he's probably ahead by 7, which is outside your margin of error.
Yeah. Well, when you oversample Democrats, you got to correct the polls.
Reader of Pain, thank you so much. The president who saved the world by ending it. Yeah, no shit. So polling is basically there to make certain people feel good. It's often used that way, Pat. It really is.
Yeah.
If you go through some of the polls, trust me, I spend way too much time with this shit. It's not just the way that the questions are asked, because that's one thing that they point to as a bias. But if you go down and read the parts where they do the methodology and tell you about like the people that they decided to exclude, the weighting that they use, if you read what's actually in there, you'll find out that, yeah, you can get kind of an idea what people are thinking. But for the most part, it's written that way so that people like George Stephanopoulos can go, new poll shows Biden. We saw this literally right before the debate. The new poll, this was from Fox News. Remember, Fox is not the conservative people that you think they are. New poll, Biden is pulled ahead of Trump by 2 points. This is with inflation the same. With the population already only 35% of people, according to that CNN poll we saw just 2 days ago, 35% of people already thought Joe couldn't do the job anymore. And like, no, totally. Everybody thinks Joe is going to be the best president. You just have to know what you're actually looking at. Anyway, sorry. We'll get to the polls again in a second.
I don't think so, but I think when you look at all of the polling data right now, it shows that he's certainly ahead in the popular vote.
You just agreed with Biden that the polls aren't good anymore, and then you cite the polls?
Shut up.
Why not just go, no, sir, I think they're just fine? You fucking pussy. You big bitch of a man. Sorry, little bitch of a man. He is tiny.
Yes, he's a little manlet.
Probably even more ahead in the battleground states. And one of the other key factors there is it shows that in many of the battleground states, the Democrats who are running for Senate and the House are doing better than you are.
Well, that's not unusual in some states.
That's absolutely unusual for the president to be doing worse than the party members running on the same ticket that year.
Yeah.
In fact, this was a talking point you guys used in 2020 against Trump.
I carried an awful lot of Democrats last time I ran.
We're not talking about last time you ran, homie. And he's not even talking about you carrying Democrats. He's talking about the fact that they seem to be carrying you, if anything, which is the complete reversal of an election year for a president. I carried lots of them last time.
They were heavy, but I got super strength.
In 2020. Look, I remember them telling me the same thing in 2020. I can't win. The polls show I can't win.
There's the polls from 2020. The red line is Trump, and this is from mid-March through the election. The blue line is Biden. Do you see anywhere where the blue line goes under the red line? Do you see anywhere where it shows Biden losing in the polls? Oh, they told me the same thing last time. No, they didn't. Not a single fucking poll showed that. What are you talking about? How many times does this man have to lie before we can just call him a liar?
No, Trump's the liar. He told 28 of them in that debate. The more I say it, the more true it becomes, because I'm a super genius. I'm ruler of the world.
You can go look this up yourself. It is the 2020, just go to 538.com, 2020 election polls. There it is. Right there.
No,
they said he is the comeback kid on everything, isn't he?
he's the best ever, Monkey. Oh, real quick. Thank you, Cryptic. I'm convinced that Biden's dementia is so bad that Jill probably has him standing at the Lincoln bedroom, looking outside for hours at a time to keep him busy as she forges a signature.
Probably.
Only an ED can screw up our country this bad. That's true. That's true.
Do you think like any time during his day he looks at a staffer and goes, I wiped my own butt. They said I couldn't do it.
No,
I
he's
bet he
probably
did.
like, do you know who lives here? Whose house am I in?
Who am I?
Who are you? Are you my son?
Remember 2024, 2020, the red wave was coming. Before the vote, I said that's not going to happen.
He listed 2 years for the red wave and missed both of them. He said 2024 and then corrected to 2020, and the year of the red wave was 2022.
Look, your hate facts have no place here. It was in 2024. If you're using a different calendar, the Gregorian calendar is so last year, monkey.
We're going to win. We did better in an off year than almost any incumbent president ever has done.
No, you still lost the House. It wasn't the massive wave, but again, the blue wave wasn't the massive wave either. You still lost the House, homie. And you won the Senate on bullshit by the whole thing down in Florida. So stop pretending you were like psychic and shit. Did he mean 2022? Yes, he did. 2020 and 2024 average out to 2022. I guess.
Yeah, let's not try and give the dementia patient credit for stuff that he definitely didn't do.
Yeah, he totally doesn't know that, but you're not wrong.
They said in 2023, all the tough races we're not going to win. I went into all those areas and all those districts. And
Is there
we
an
won.
election in 2023?
I mean, technically, there's elections every year. I don't know what districts he was in 2023 that he helped win, because there were certainly no congressional elections that year. Maybe there was a special election here or there.
Yeah, maybe he was down in Loudoun County for like a school board thing or something, so he could sniff some kids.
All that is true, but 2020 was
No, it's not all true. That part, this is the part that pissed me off, is him saying it's all true because of the polling nonsense.
Yeah.
I mean, I just showed you guys the polling. And he's like, that is all true. No, it's not, George.
a close race. And your approval rating has dropped significantly since then. I think the last poll I saw was about 36%. The number of Americans who think you're too old to serve has doubled since 2020. Wouldn't a clear-eyed political calculus tell you that it's going to be much tougher to win in 2024?
Not when you're running against a pathological liar.
So Trump's going to ace this, huh?
Irony alert.
Yeah, right?
Bitch, we got 50 years of video of you lying.
Yeah. Sam Donaldson was not only alive back then, but he looked young.
Yeah. Criminy. Now when you're running against me.
Yeah, there's going to be a billions pack ads of him saying that, followed by clips of him lying through his fucking teeth and getting caught.
Not when he hadn't been challenged in a way that he's about to be challenged.
Trump has never been challenged.
Not in a way he's about to be challenged. Yet deciphering the English language.
With slurs? You know, the great part about Biden is if you mention that he was using slurs, you don't know if he was being racist or just fucking up his words.
Yeah, it could be both. I mean, would you put it past him?
Not when people...
You've had months to challenge him.
Oh, sure I had months, but I was also doing a hell of a lot of other things, like wars.
You were trying to challenge him the whole time.
Oh, but he was busy orchestrating some wars, monkey.
Yeah, I love that he says that.
Months to challenge him.
Oh, sure I had months, but I was also doing a hell of a lot of other things, like wars.
Which war, sir? Hey, Jack, are we in a war? Officially?
Officially, no.
Huh. He was doing some wars, like you do.
Yeah, he's playing Stratego with some, 9-year-old.
I'm going to have some breakfast, then maybe do the crossword, and then I'll do some wars.
Around the world. like keeping NATO together, like working anyway. But look,
It's one of those moments when he realized he was saying really stupid shit. We had the anyway line again.
Yeah.
Anyway, somebody needs to do a super cut of him doing all of his anyways.
That could be like a 4-hour video.
Thank you so much, Cryptic. As an Asian man once said, I mean, me, I vote in every erection. I read that as written. YouTube, that is an Asian man who made that joke. Thank you, Cryptic. I appreciate it.
world, like keeping NATO together, like working anyway. But look,
Do you really believe you're not behind right now?
I think it's all pollsters I talk to tell me it's a toss-up.
They're lying to you. I wonder if the pollsters who are telling him it's a toss-up is a doctor in their spare time who tells him he's exhausted.
Dr. Jill
Yes.
and the Hunter.
Hey Joe, does this pollster / doctor look like a rabbit? How fitting is it that the Easter Bunny had to direct him?
Oh, it's so fitting. Harvey's a good bunny, though.
It's a toss-up. And when I'm behind, there's only one poll I'm really far behind, CBS poll and NBC, and
New York Times and NBC both have you about 6 points behind in the popular vote.
that's exactly right.
There's only one poll I'm behind in. The CBS and the New York Times and NBC both have you behind. Yeah, that's exactly right.
It's just frustratingly sad at this point.
Joe, is your doctor here with us right now?
Is he in the room with us? Is he in charge of that shitty Project 2025 website?
Jesus, Mother of Mary.
New York Times had me behind before anything happened to do with this race.
Maybe they've seen you.
We all knew you were running and that Trump was likely going to run, so they ran polls on who would win. What point do you think you're making there? Are you not trying to suggest the New York Times is like conservative and on Trump's side, are you?
Yes, sir. Clearly a bunch of megatards over there at the Washington or New York Times, rather.
And let's say it's true that I haven't followed their polling that closely, that even before anything to do with this race, I'm not sure what that means when the question would be who would win the race. What does that show? I don't get his point here. And look, I know I'm looking for logic from Biden right now, but I don't understand what that point is even supposed to make.
Oh, I can tell you right now. He's telling you that people are just telling him he's going to win. That he's clearly in the clear lead, and those are the only people that he's talking to. Anybody that says otherwise is not getting anywhere near him.
And I think that is probably true, because what happens when a dementia patient gets angry?
They tend to get angry and they tend to throw things.
Yeah, they tend to get violent, and keeping anybody away from Joe who would tell him things he didn't want to hear is probably a White House policy.
Yeah. They're at minimum going to get screamed at. Probably have something thrown at them.
Monkey's internet is holding up. Monkey's on the AT&T right now, so the video is probably choppy as shit, but it won't break the way that the Starlink does. Anyway,
behind 10 points. 10 points had me behind. Nothing's changed substantially in the debate, the New York Times poll.
Okay, again, let's say that's true. What about the rest of the poll when they ask about your cognitive ability? Because that's the thing people were really asking after the debate. Can you be president? Can you handle the job? Can you even handle the election itself? And those have changed drastically. We're to the point right now that if the polls are to be believed, only the most diehard Democrats are still supporting Joe.
Yeah.
Just when you look at the reality, though, Mr. President, I mean, you won the pop.
When you look at the reality, he just said that to Joe Biden. George, let me help you out here. He hasn't seen reality since probably 2014.
Oh, I'd go further than that.
Popular vote in 2020, but it was still deadly close in the electoral
By 7
college.
million votes.
Yes, but you're behind now in the popular vote.
I don't buy that.
I'm behind.
Is it worth the
what?
risk?
He doesn't believe that he's behind.
I'm not behind anything. I could see it just fine, Georgie.
Do you know what's
You
going to
like
happen to
those?
this man if he finishes this election and he just gets stomped?
I think they'll tell him that he won, and they'll create a fake Oval Office in some nursing facility.
We had to move it. There was a war, Joe. You're the president here now in this bunker. This looks like my basement.
I don't think anybody's more qualified to be president or win this race than me.
Okay, sadly, I agree with him with the qualified to win this race as a Democrat. That doesn't mean he's going to win the race. It's just their stable is that fucking anemic. But nobody's more qualified to be president than him.
Well, I mean, I don't have that kind of ego, but holy fucking shit.
If I'm Senator Warner and I need to get through to this asshole, I just show him videos of himself. It's like, Joe, sit down there. We need to talk to you for a minute. And then play 4 hours of him bumbling and stumbling and literally falling.
I'd probably just fall asleep through the whole thing. Let's be honest, he's not going to recognize anything. He may not even recognize himself in the video. That's not me. Who is that? Who's that old man? Where's my mommy?
He desperately needs somebody around him telling him the truth.
Yeah, it's not going to happen, though.
Look, the one of the things that you can do to help yourself is have people around you who disagree with you, people who will challenge you, and he clearly has none. You know, they give Trump all kinds of shit for just surrounding himself with yes men, and that can be a problem, but we know from his first term that's absolutely not what happened.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anybody in Joe's circle here who's giving him the honest answers.
No, they're giving him, at best, little snippets of things that are all sunshine and lollipops. He probably thinks that his approval numbers are like in the 70s or 80s.
Part of your case against Donald Trump is that he's only out for himself, putting his personal interest ahead of the national interest. How do you respond to critics who say that by staying in the race, you're doing the same thing?
Oh, come on.
Well, that's a meaningful answer. Oh, come on. Why'd he go into his creepy smile with that?
Because it's the most ludicrous thing he's ever heard.
Oh, come on.
Oh, come on. That's stupid. I'm awesome and Trump's a poopy head.
Well, I don't think those critics know what they're talking about.
They're just wrong.
It's wrong.
If
Look.
they even exist.
Yeah. They hated me before there was anything about this race.
Clearly, that's Steve Bannon's people. They're magatards.
We're some of those people who have made that statement, you know, that this is very selfish of him and frankly of Jill, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
To not just to run again, but to even hold on to the office. This is a motherfucker who invoked George Washington the other day, specifically Washington stepping away after 8 years. And tried to point that as hey, we can't have dictators, which is fine. But I have no doubt if George was in your position, he'd have stepped down. He'd been like, no, I got to do what's best for the country. And you're doing what's best for you right now. That's all this is. Because you have to
kind of pays him a lot of money, Monkey.
He's got to prove that he's not the bumbling retard we can all see with our own eyes. It's entirely selfish.
Trump is a pathological liar.
So are you.
Trump is, he is.
Did y'all see that? Let's watch it again.
Trump is, he is. Have you ever seen anything?
His brain just melted.
Yeah, he forgot who he was talking about and what he was saying. There was no subject. There was no verb. That was just total being lost for a minute.
Have you ever seen anything Trump did that benefited somebody else, not him?
He gave tax cuts to literally the entire nation.
Yeah, he did that bail or that jail reform thing.
Yeah, he's done a lot of stuff that didn't benefit. He ran for president this year.
Yeah, which in no way has benefited him at all.
The only way that you can point to Trump running this year and say that it was for his benefit is kind of for his own redemption arc after losing to Joe. I'm using air quotes, but that's it. There's literally no reason for him to have run. He would not be under any of these indictments. He would not have been found guilty on a completely bullshit made up thing in New York because the case never would have been brought.
Yep.
E. Jean Carroll never gets a big fat settlement. The only reason all this shit is happening is because Donald Trump dared run for president again.
Yeah, I mean, he was warned. So life or a nation comes at a cost.
Thank you, Ministry of Wrongthink. Biden sounds like the dude in the COD lobby, Call of Duty, saying they can keep going at 4 a.m. when it's obvious they're fighting just to stay awake. You been playing games with Satsu? Satsu's literally fallen asleep during game streams before. It's funny as shit to watch. He fell asleep during Lords of the Night one night.
I remember that.
It was funny as shit.
You can't answer, I know.
I've questioned him and his allies as persistently as any journalist has.
No, I know you have. I'm not being critical.
Yeah.
I'm not being critical.
Jill will yell at me. Was he not like a child? I'm not being critical. I'm not being critical. Please don't ask me hard questions.
Don't tell mommy on me. Dr.
But
Mommy
look,
gets mad.
Dr. Mommy doesn't like it. She'll take my temperature the bad way.
I mean, the man is a congenital liar.
A congenital liar.
Yes. It's congenital, monkey.
A congenital liar. I had never considered that before. Maybe with Biden, it's just genetic.
Yeah, well, with Trump, it might be conjugal, too.
A congenital liar.
Yes.
The man is a congenital liar. As I said, they pointed out in that debate, he lied 27, 28 times the times, or whatever number.
You lied 3 times in your first response, Dick.
He's been lying this whole interview, too.
Oh, true. Yeah. He's about to repeat one.
Talk about how good his economy was, how he brought down inflation, how
he did those things. Again, yes, the last year of Trump's presidency was a disaster for the economy, but that was all COVID related. Until we get to COVID, Democrats are literally begging for the economy to crash. 2 different instances of Bill Maher going, we desperately need the economy to crash.
Yeah.
It wasn't because of Trump's policies. It was because, well, I guess you can give him credit for allowing Fauci to run free. But when you're talking about his policies and him saying about how great things were, Trump wasn't lying about that. Oh, what a fucking douchebag.
This is a guy who, unlike only other president other than him, is Hoover, who lost more jobs than he created. This is a guy who told us to put bleach in our arms.
No, he didn't. That's a lie you told in your opening answer during the debate.
Yeah, he's been perpetuating that one. He's about to add to it, too.
Yeah.
To deal with COVID, with over a million people died. This is a guy who talks about wanting to get rid of the healthcare provision we put.
Go ahead.
The way he phrased that, it sounded like 1 million people died of injecting bleach.
Yeah. Here, we'll watch it all at once.
This is a guy who told us to put bleach in our arms to deal with COVID, with over 1 million people died.
Yeah, the way he phrases it is that the bleach caused 1 million people to die, which again, Trump never said to put bleach in your arm. And the million had 1 million people died by the time Trump left office.
I doubt it. Maybe
I want to
globally.
Say, yeah, globally, I guess, sure.
This is a guy who talks about wanting to get rid of the healthcare provision we put in place. This is a guy who wants to give the power back to.
This is a guy who talks about wanting to get rid of the healthcare provision we put in place. Are you suggesting he's lying about that? Because you're supposedly listing off his lies.
Well, I think we transitioned on to just things he's doing.
It's amazing that this guy's train of thought.
This is a guy who eats burgers and fries with mayo.
He said the burgers were a mile high.
Big pharma to be able to charge exorbitant prices for drugs.
I'm sorry. The guy who got the insulin thing done and then you ended it and put it back 4 years later so that you could claim you did it?
Yeah, that guy.
Okay, I was just making sure we're on the same thing.
Oh, yeah, that's that dude. Renegotiated NAFTA, that's a hate fact, Yuri.
Big pharma to be able to charge exorbitant prices for drugs. This is a guy who wants to undo every single thing I've done.
And I'm with him on it.
Yeah, because everything you've done has been a massive disaster, you fucking asshole.
Jesus Christ. He wants to get rid of all the bad shit I've done. Can you believe that? I'm out here fighting wars. Sorry, doing wars. I'm doing the wars. He undid what Trump did, yes, and bragged about it.
Yeah.
But Trump undoing him is no, that's unconstitutional.
Yeah, well, I mean, how dare you? Some of that stuff sainted Barack Obama put in place.
Thank you, Dangerous. If this interview doesn't end with George saying, "Tell me about the rabbits, George," then what are we even doing here? By the way, as a technically qualified journalist, this is really painful to watch. I understand. I do. Thank you for that. That's yeah.
Trust me, this is our second, third, fourth time watching this shit. So we get it. We get how painful this is.
We talked for just a second.
Sure. Including undoing what Trump did at the border. Yep. We don't talk about the border. Neither are they. Wait, we get money from our own oil exploration instead of paying OPEC. Oh, no. You don't get any of that money.
No, we don't. We don't. That money is for Joe and his rich friends because he believes in building out the middle class from the fat side. Anyway.
Every single thing.
I understand.
Every single thing.
That's why you want to stay in the race. But if you convince yourself that only you can defeat him,
I convinced myself of two things: I'm the most qualified person to beat him, and I know how to get things done.
Fortification.
Do you think after this, Jill went, "You did so good. You answered all the questions"?
I have no doubt she did that. Probably put a little gold star on his chart.
Give him a little liver snap. Good boy.
Yeah. He's one step closer to having a movie and ice cream day.
if you can be convinced that you cannot defeat Donald Trump, will you stand down?
It depends if the Lord Almighty comes down and tells me that, I might do that.
Well,
if Jesus comes down and tells him to back out, he'll do it. That's how arrogant this motherfucker is.
To paraphrase Dr. House, you talk to God, you're religious. If God's talking to you, you're crazy.
Well, I mean, on a more practical level, Washington Post just reported in the last hour that Senator Mark Warner is assembling a group of senators together to try and convince you to stand down because they don't think you can win.
Well, Mark is a good man. We've never had that. He also tried to get the nomination too.
No, he did not.
I've never heard of that guy before like a week ago.
You never heard of Warner before?
No, I don't think so. Maybe we've talked about him and I just don't remember.
That's
But
possible.
he's obviously not a memorable person, and I don't remember the dude running for the office.
He didn't.
I didn't think so.
He absolutely did not try to get the nomination.
Oh my God, I just got a brilliant idea, Monkey. Biden steps down and they put Hank Johnson in.
Oh, I might actually vote for Hank.
I mean, how many times can you make Guam flip in one presidency?
I don't remember him either. Again, I watch a lot of Congress, so maybe I'm just more familiar with some of these folks.
Yeah, you definitely are. But I mean, like I said, we've probably talked about him on one or two things over the past couple of years, but he's obviously not that memorable of a person if I'm not remembering. It's like sports people. I don't remember you unless you're stupid famous or you're dating Taylor Swift.
I wish Andrew Yang was running his third party. You might want to look into what Andrew's been saying lately.
Is he getting the Yang gang back together?
No, he's all in on Biden.
Oh.
Mark and I have a different perspective. I respect him.
And if Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries and Nancy Pelosi come down and say, we're worried that if you stay in the race, we're going to lose the House and the Senate, how will you respond?
I go into detail with them. I've spoken to all of them in detail.
I'm speaking. Joe just had a monkey moment.
Yeah, but in detail.
In detail. I'm speaking with him in detail.
Including Jim Clyburn. Every one of them. They all said
Clyburn wasn't even brought up, homie.
No, but he's adding him in just for even numbers.
Stay in the race. None of the people said I should leave.
But if they do?
Well, it's like, they're not going to do that.
You sure?
Well, yeah, I'm sure. Look.
He just told you that there's senators getting together to tell you to step out. And you're like, no, never do that.
Yeah. There's sort of an implied, like, they're never going to do that, dummy. That's stupid. What are you thinking?
Oh. I have to try to go faster. Apparently, my father-in-law will be here soon, so I'm going to try to not interrupt as much.
Okay.
I said try.
I mean, if the Lord Almighty came out and said, Joe, get out of the race, I'll get out of the race. The Lord Almighty's not coming down.
You don't know that.
One, somebody put on Twitter, the Lord Almighty has a chance to do something really funny here.
I know, right?
Which is true, but we're not talking about God descending to tell you to stop. We're talking about humans who are here who want to win.
Yeah.
And he's like, that would be the same as Jesus descending to tell me this.
Yeah, like if you're saying the only way you're going to step aside is if Jesus shows up to tell you, you're basically challenging an alphabet agency at that point to be like, oh, really?
Right?
I mean, these hypotheticals, George. But
it's not
okay. It's not a hypothetical. Nobody said that a bishop from the Catholic Church had Jesus tell Joe to leave. He's literally mentioning a senator who's putting together a group of senators to tell you. I know he's mentally challenged and all, but can he be that delusional for real?
Yeah, I think he can. Remember, this guy's got an ego. Every time he's challenged, he comes up with fantastical lies that I graduated #1 in my class. I got 3 degrees. He can't get over the fact that he might be wrong on something.
Do you think any part of this interview that they totally didn't cut out was Joe going, listen, fat?
Oh, probably. I'm telling you, he called this dude Snuffleupagus at some point.
There's this thing going around right now where the media is just being so toxic to Joe. Look at this softball fucking interview.
Yeah.
This is them being toxic to him.
Well, it's a softball interview that he's treating as if it's a hostile interview.
Well, they're so used to him not being challenged at all that any pushback looks like toxic aggression. Toxic aggression is the term being thrown around.
Yeah, well, like you said, he's not used to being challenged, so plus he's got dementia, so any kind of like anger is going to be overblown anyway.
Thank you, Dangerous. Joe thinks his opinion is only second to God himself. Arrogant fuck. Andy just said he convinced himself he is qualified to beat Trump and he knows how to get things done. So he didn't believe those. No, he convinced himself. Don't worry, God came down and told him.
Not that hypothetical anymore. I grant that they have not requested the meeting, but it's been reported.
I met with them. I've met with a lot of these people.
Since Thursday?
I've talked with them regularly. I had an hour conversation with Akeem. I had more time than that with Jim Clyburn. I spent time with many hours off and on the last little bit with Chuck Schumer.
The last little bit. That's pretty vague.
It's a very specific time frame. It's like a pinch.
It's between when he was doing war.
Yeah, and founding NATO.
I started NATO.
It's not like I had all the governors.
I agree that the Lord Almighty is not going to come down, but if you are told reliably from your allies, from your friends and supporters in the Democratic Party, in the House and the Senate, that they're concerned you're going to lose the House and the Senate if you stay in, what will you do?
I'm not going to answer that question.
Why not? This is how arrogant he is. This is why I say he won't drop out. He'll have to be forced out if he leaves. I'm not even going to dignify that with a response. Yeah. Didn't I already tell you only Jesus can move me?
Well, I mean, he is probably prone to hallucinations based on how many invisible people he's tried to shake hands with. Either that or he sees ghosts, and Jesus did come back as a spooky ghost once. But yeah, dude, I don't know. If they 25th him, that is going to be so fucking awful. Because they'll probably have to drag him out.
My guess is they won't 25th him. Or they'll threaten him with it and tell him, look, we'll let you stay in, but you got to drop out of the race. And if you don't, then we'll 25th you to get you out.
I think that's probably exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah. And it's what they should do, but they should kick him out, honestly.
Yeah, they should, but they care more about holding on to power, and nobody wants cackles in there. Oh, real fast. Thank you, literally God, for that feminist donation. Dude, step down. Holy me, man.
It's not going to happen.
What's your plan to turn the campaign around?
Saw it today. How many people do you draw crowds like I drew today?
Lots of politicians.
Yeah, how many? I had dozens show up at those high school auditoriums I'm at.
This is what I told you to remind me, because we're finally getting into it. Pay attention to when Biden has a campaign rally. When Trump has a campaign rally, they put it out on social media. Hey, come watch it here. And you can see him constantly. They don't do that with Biden's rallies.
No. And the people that you see there, they don't look enthusiastic.
Yeah,
they're kind of smiling halfway, and they're like, yay.
We get still pictures and clips because they won't just show the whole thing.
And most of those clips that I've seen are people filming it.
Yeah.
Not even the news media. But you see a Trump rally, there's people having a party, basically. It's like spring break. There's people having a good old time. There's rock and roll music, people dancing and cheering and shouting, and they're chanting Trump, Trump, stuff like that. Or various other slogans. And he's like a rock star. And Biden is like a sad board meeting that you're forced to go to.
I didn't see Biden's rally today to even see how many people were there.
Dozens, dude. Dozens.
I mean, looking at what I can find, There's probably almost 1,000 people there, maybe.
Yeah, and how many does Trump do? He fills some stadiums.
Yeah, and he can do it nightly. Biden had to go to Minneapolis to do it.
Yeah, which you're going to like safe areas.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm drawing crowds.
You find me any more enthusiastic than today? Huh?
Can you find anyone more enthusiastic than today? Yes, any Trump supporter.
Yeah, exactly. Biden supporters, they all look like somebody in chat just said, it looks like they're going to a wake.
Yeah, because they are technically.
I mean, I don't think you want to play the crowd game. Donald Trump can draw big crowds.
All right, Georgie, I'll give you credit for that one. And not just big crowds there, George, enthusiastic crowds.
Yeah, you could hear it in George's voice. It's like, oh, you don't want to do that, dude.
He's like, really, fucker?
We need to avoid that concept. Biden actually thinks that he is doing better than Trump, and he thinks he's more popular than Trump. Whoever is telling him that, you're evil, man. You are just evil. You're just mean to this old bastard.
It's Jill.
Yeah, Jill, Hunter, probably members of his cabinet. I don't know. I don't know who they are. Probably some unpaid interns or like whatever, old dude. But this is disgusting. He has no concept that he's not that popular. He's got a 35% approval rating. I'm pretty sure Dead Roadkill has more enthusiastic support than that.
No question about that.
You can draw a big crowd, but what's he say? Who's he have?
What celebrities are endorsing him? What are you talking about?
You literally asked the question, who has more enthusiastic crowds? And so it gives you one. But what's he saying? It doesn't matter. It's a more enthusiastic crowd.
Who does he have? You don't understand that Trump is a cult of personality unto himself?
Yeah.
You really are gone, old man. Because, wow.
Yeah, you can say whatever you want about Trump, but to try to pretend he doesn't have massive, very enthusiastic crowds is retarded.
Yeah, that is beyond senile. You're just stupid. You're stupid and senile. That's a bad combination, old man.
Indeed. Wait, did I get that? Dark Conservatarian, thank you so much. Wait, so Joe is not dropping out because people behind the scenes manipulating him, aka elder abuse, or is it his choice because he's just that arrogant? It's both.
Yeah.
This is why, if you listen to me talk about it the first time I ever said it, I mentioned what part of Joe's brain is still there is very egotistical. It's both. And especially with Jill, there's no way she's letting him take that L.
Yeah. And Biden is an elitist.
Yeah.
He thinks that these celebrity endorsements and people like Barack Obama showing up are going to get him across the finish line. Trump is more able to somehow connect with the common man, despite his billionaire status and lifelong wealth. He is able to connect to the little people. And there are a lot more of them that vote than there are of these pandering celebrities.
Mm-hmm.
Celebrities can get you far, but they can't get you over the finish line.
I'm the guy supposedly in trouble. We raised $38 million within 4 days after this. We have over 1 million individual contributors.
All right, pause after that. We raised over 34 million. They were announcing that within like the first 24 or 48 that it was 33 million already.
Yeah.
So since then it's been 1 million.
Yeah, it's probably been 38 million or whatever. But
you had a whole bunch of people who were like, "Oh my God, we're in trouble. We need to support our guy." I'm not saying that there's not 38 million Democrats out there. But do you remember Trump setting records not that long ago for his campaign?
Right.
That was when,
considering they've gone after him and been smearing him for a better part of a decade now. The man's still a rock star.
Individual contributors, less than $200. Yeah, I mean, I've not seen what you're proposing.
You haven't seen the fall off in the polls. You haven't seen the reports of discontent in the Democratic Party, House Democrats, Senate Democrats.
Somebody show this motherfucker Twitter.
I don't think he could handle Twitter or remember it.
I've seen it from the press.
Now he's going to pretend it's the press. The press is just against Joe Biden. Hey, Joe, go fuck yourself.
He's oppressed.
Jesus.
You know, I've heard from dozens of your supporters over the last few days, and a variety of views. I grant you that. But the prevailing sentiment is this. They love you, and they will be forever grateful to you for defeating Donald Trump in 2020. They think you've done a great job as president, a lot of the successes you outlined. But they are worried about you and the country, and they don't think you can win. They want you to go with grace, and they will.
I'm paying attention to his eyes right now. This motherfucker's blinked once in like a minute.
Yeah, Eagle, his left eye is really dilated. I think he's got like that thing where the skin over your eyelid droops down. That might be from a stroke. I'm not sure, but it's really weird because it's like one eye is staring at you. Like if he had a monocle, I'd be really creeped out right now.
Too late to go with grace. Just go. Yeah, after the debate, there's no way to go with grace anymore.
No, not after that disaster. Oh, thank you, Travis Gardner. There's probably some death of Stalin type of shenanigans going on behind the scenes at the White House right now. That would not surprise me at all, man.
All right, like I said, my father-in-law's coming, so we're going to jump ahead just over a minute in this to where we get to the end.
Okay.
Because you got to see the ABC folks.
Mr. President, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
ABC News also offered a one-on-one interview to Donald Trump after the debate. He declined. Let's bring in our political team for what they're hearing.
Look at them.
Let me start out with our chief.
Just look at their faces.
Yeah, look at the defeat. And that chick on the far right there, the black chick. Oh my God, it's like a deer in headlights. Like, what the fuck did I just watch?
Yeah.
She probably saw an alien. You know, that's the look people give if they just saw a UFO.
Washington correspondent John Carl. And John, you watched the interview. You've been talking to people all across Washington. What are you hearing?
Well, George, look, Biden looked better and certainly more coherent than he looked during the debate. But there was nothing in this interview that is calming nerves of jittery Democrats who fear that Joe Biden is on a trajectory to lose this race, to lose to Donald Trump. And
yeah, because he still didn't come off coherent.
No, he did. This interview did not help him at all. In fact, it probably hurt him with a lot of voters because he was dodging questions. He looked meandering, or sounded meandering, rather. He just looked like he was distracted.
Moonshot, it says, who in the hell they're trying to convince that he's doing better? He did look much better than the debate. One, they've given him that fucked up spray tan he's got on with his ball thing going there. He wasn't as... I think they gave him specific instructions like close your mouth, Joe. He did look better, but that is such a low fucking bar.
Yeah, that debate was such a disaster.
Yeah.
It'd be hard to top that in ineptitude.
And I do think that this does more damage than the debate, even though he looked worse then. Yeah. Because understand, this was completely choreographed. They put him in the absolute best light that they could, and that's what he looked like.
Yeah. Yeah, they did everything they could to puff him up, and this is what they got.
That's with the drugs working at full speed. That's with, time of day being, hey, it's 11:15. Joe can speak for a couple of minutes. And still, he looked horrible.
In fact, for some of those people, the interview is raising new concerns, particularly the fact that he is unwilling or unaware of the fact that he is in a dire situation here regarding the campaign.
And that's the part that might force Congress's hand for the 25th.
Yeah. Yeah, his inability to recognize a problem is very dangerous.
And him just trying, it's just a bad night. I'm just as spry as I can't run the 110 flat, but otherwise I'm exactly the same as always. Nobody believes that.
No, I'm super spry, guys. I'm an intellectual powerhouse. I rule the world. What was inspiring about that video we just watched?
Nothing.
What about that would make you eager to vote for him?
That he is losing in the view of many Democrats. And frankly, in the polls you cited, that he is losing to Donald Trump. And there was one question that you asked where his answer is particularly, I believe, alarming to some of those Democrats. You asked him how he will feel in January if he has lost to Donald Trump and all that he has warned would happen came to pass. And this was his answer. He said, I'll feel, as long as I gave it my all and did the best job I know I can do, that's what this is about.
That is part that we didn't see. It's in that last minute and a half we skipped over.
Yeah, not much.
You're like, wait, I just watched this whole thing. I didn't hear that. That's why.
Yeah.
One prominent ally of the president simply responded to me, wow.
Yeah. I do wonder how many people close to the president, and realize when I say close, I think this guy's highly guarded. How many of them actually do know how bad it is? And I'm not just talking about his dementia, because there's no getting around that, but how deluded he actually is about all this.
Yeah, because it's looking like he has no idea what's going on.
No clue.
Outside.
Yeah. So this is the problem with insulating people like this. And again, if you go back to especially the late Reagan years, 87-ish, midway through 88, you saw a lot of this where Nancy was like, no, you can't talk to him right now.
Yeah.
So
when I asked about that question. So the bottom line here, there was nothing in this interview that will force Joe Biden out of the race. There was no, major thing that will convince him or any of his allies. I believe they have to go. But there's also nothing in this interview that will calm the nerves of Democrats who are saying it is time for him to get out.
that's mainstream media right there, Jack.
Yeah. Which is mostly left wing. I don't think this guy's a Republican.
All right. We get to hear from the
Martha Raddatz. The president is talking to a lot of people, but he appears to be listening to a very tight circle.
A very tight circle, and administration officials I have spoken to said that very tight inner circle is telling them he can win, that he needs to keep going. This, of course, includes his wife, Jill, who they said is lashing out at those who want him to get out of the race. This was a Joe Biden.
We keep telling you, Jill's hands are all over this.
Yeah.
And I wish these fucking press people would stop being such pansies and just name names.
Yeah.
Pumped up.
Go ahead.
Joe Biden seems to be very much like Edith Wilson was. She wants to be a somebody.
Yes.
And this is her chance. That's why Woodrow Wilson, after his stroke, he didn't drop out or resign. She took over for him. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if Jill's calling the shots here.
On his inner circle, telling him that again and again. They think he will have many opportunities, but those not in the inner circle say this will also expose him to a great deal of risk. And George, I've talked to a few people too, and texting with a few people as well on the Hill. They say it was better than they expected, wasn't as bad as they expected, but that's a pretty low bar, George.
Yeah, how sad is that?
Yeah, if this was better than expected, your expectations were gutter. Because, dear Lord, this was bad.
And Mary Bruce, what are you hearing from the White House?
George, the White House tonight reacting in one word, strong. Look, you heard the president there, and his team strongly do believe that this is all being overblown, that Joe Biden has been underestimated and written off before, only to come back strong and win. They believe if he can continue to do interviews like this, if he can continue to get out in front of the American people, that this too shall pass. But
then they're delusional. They're as delusional as he is.
Old Joey's a comeback kid. You just wait and see, Mr. Monkey.
the president there truly didn't seem to grasp the severity of this moment, the magnitude of that growing chorus of concern from Democrats. He dismissed the trends that we are seeing in the polls. But what we are hearing from Democrats isn't concern about one bad night. They are concerned that Joe Biden doesn't have what it takes not only to continue governing, but that he has what it takes to win. But the president is adamant that he is still the best one to take on Donald Trump. And you heard there, he clearly doesn't want to entertain the possibility that Democrats may come to him and urge him to step aside, saying only the Lord Almighty could convince him of that, George.
She spent most of her time reiterating what Biden said.
Yeah.
She is so in the mix. She still got to put the positive spin on it. She's the only one who really annoyed me through this. The other two are like, this shit is fucked. And she's like, but you heard him. You heard him say it. Shut up, yo. Bimbo.
And that is the key question right now. So I want to go to our senior congressional correspondent, Rachel Scott, the most important audience probably right now for the president.
Just look at the concern on her face, knowing she's got to answer a question right now. She's like, oh, fuck, it's my turn. It's like she's the kid in class who didn't do her homework and you got to, give a presentation out loud.
Nah, she's like, oh, dude, I'm getting probed. Yeah. She's like, can I pass?
And the White House are those Democratic leaders on Capitol Hill. And there has been some ferment in the last couple of hours.
Exactly, George. And they were watching tonight. I can tell you that. In fact, just minutes before your interview aired, you had.
Unfortunately, that's where it cuts off. But anybody who wants to catch the minute and a half we skipped, I'll toss it into chat for you. But unlike the chick right before her, you don't get the impression that she's like, yeah, everybody thinks stuff is great. Yeah, that poor woman looked like she was going like she lived in Kamala's California and she had to go to a hearing where her dad was being charged with something.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a horrible interview. I can't believe that they went ahead with that. And I don't think, to the I forget her name, the third person who spoke there, second to last. I don't see any part of that as positive. And she can tell me that the White House says it, but if you listen to the chick right before that, she's talking about people who work at the White House, not the spokespeople who work at the White House, but the behind the scenes folks, the ones who are like, you're not going to put my name on record, right?
Yeah.
And they're all like, this is really fucking bad.
Well, they're the ones that are taking the brunt of Joe's anger and getting blamed for stuff that goes wrong.
Yeah.
So they're on the front line. Those are the people you want to talk to.
But the idea that putting him out there more and more, they believe if they just have some interviews like this, what the fuck did you watch?
Yeah. Oh, the people just are too stupid to understand the messaging and genius of Joe. What?
Twice he pulled his anyway line. At least 3 times he just stares off into fucking space.
Yeah. For way too long, like an uncomfortable time.
And not even associated with those anyway lines. So we have at least 5 of his brain farts happen. Hey man, if they can get more of these out there. Why? So Sideshow Bob can tell us that they're cheap fakes?
Yes. The press is clearly part of the vast right-wing conspiracy. They expect the press to pick up all the pieces, edit stuff selectively, and do their work for them.
Yeah. And it's right for them to expect that because that's what the press has always done. But here's the one thing you do have to understand about the press. They don't want to lose.
No, they're a bunch of opportunistic vultures. They want to win.
This isn't even about their own credibility, which you would think, oh, they just want to be No. This is about wanting to keep the White House. Anyway, with that, Jack, I have familial things going on here in just a few moments, so I need to wrap this one up. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us and watching Joe Biden scare the shit out of the entire world. Thank you for the donations. You guys are so kind. Don't forget to tell your friends, your family, and that bitch you hate to come here and watch and have them hang out with us too, because it's always more fun live if you can be here. But we do appreciate those of you who watch it later. Jack, anything you want to show?
No, I haven't finished anything. Thank you so much for the donations. You guys are awesome. Appreciate everybody coming out and watching it. Such a crazy hour. But you guys are beautiful people. Never let anyone tell you otherwise.
For the next 4 or 5 days, I will do my best to get streams out. No promises for this. I also have a vacation coming up in a couple of weeks. I still don't know what date that is. I'll let you know when I find out, Jack.
Okay.
But for the next few days, with my father-in-law being here, there's stuff that needs to get done, and I'm not sure how I will feel afterwards. So I will let you know as soon as I can, and I'll try to toss it out on Twitter whether or not we're doing a show. So, guys, thanks for joining us. Jack, a pleasure as always, my friend.
Always glad to be here.
Everybody have a wonderful day. Take care of yourselves. We love you, and we'll see y'all next time.
Bye, everybody.
Anyway.